He, a boy cowering in a basement apartment, silently enduring school bullying. She, a wealthy school beauty at the top of the social ladder, basking in everyone's admiration. When a zombie virus suddenly erupts, order collapses and survival hangs by a thread. These two people from completely different worlds are forced together, fleeing for their lives. In this apocalyptic hell, danger is rewriting their fates. The boy's name is Jung Min-jun. One day, an unknown virus suddenly breaks out across the world. Due to this infectious disease similar to a zombie virus, Country B rapidly falls into ruins. He and the school beauty Han Yena barely manage to survive. However, even in this post-apocalyptic world, Han Yena continues to boss Jung Min-jun around. She once again demands that he find her water to drink. But this time, Jung Min-jun is no longer submissive and flatly refuses her demand. Han Yena is shocked by his sudden change. She starts insulting him with harsh words, calling him utterly worthless. But Jung Min-jun ignores her completely. Because he knows that in the apocalypse, Han Yena is the real burden. He immediately decides to part ways with her. At first, Han Yena acts dismissive. She resolutely chooses to leave in the opposite direction from Jung Min-jun. But halfway through, she discovers the road ahead is completely blocked. At the same time, she notices strange noises coming from a nearby residential building. She feels a chill run down her spine. Additionally, she smells a mixture of blood and rotting flesh. Images flash through her mind. That day when infected people suddenly appeared and lunged at her in terror. Thinking deeper about it, she eventually turns back to find Jung Min-jun, demanding that he take her with him. But this time, the boy no longer indulges her and immediately demands an apology, and orders her to obey him from now on. Their roles have completely reversed in this moment. Han Yena feels utterly humiliated, but faced with reality, she has no choice but to comply. Suddenly, movement behind them catches their attention. Several infected people come charging at them like bullets. In the critical moment, Jung Min-jun grabs Han Yena's arm. The two begin their long journey of escape. Time rewinds to over 10 days ago in the poor residential district. Sunlight streams through the narrow window into the old decaying basement. The computer has been on all night, still displaying that famous zombie game. At this moment, the 7:05 alarm goes off right on schedule. Jung Min-jun wakes up groggily. He walks out of his room to find the house empty as usual. A note from his mother before she left for work is stuck on the wall. Looking at the carefully written reminders, he feels nothing inside. Every day as he leaves the residential area, he can see the towering skyscrapers across the way. That's where the wealthy live, a place he can never hope to reach. Later, he arrives at school, Songun High School. Just as he reaches the hallway, someone punches him and knocks him to the ground. The culprit is Park Songbin from Class 3, Grade 11, also his classmate. He even mockingly apologizes to Jung Min-jun. Just then, an annoyed complaint comes from behind. "Can you guys keep it down in the hallway?" Park Songbin turns around and sees it's Han Yena from their class. Han Yena says irritably, "Don't cause trouble at school. Could you please disappear from my sight?" Park Songbin immediately puts his arm around Jung Min-jun like they're buddies, claiming they were just horsing around. Jung Min-jun has long been used to this sort of thing. This kind of treatment is just part of his daily life. But for this tall, beautiful girl before him, he harbors special feelings. He knows she lives in the luxury apartments across from the poor district, that her parents hold important positions, and that her family is well off. She's also popular on social media platforms. Not only that, but her academic performance is excellent too. Next year, she even plans to study abroad in Country K. However, this seemingly perfect person looks down on the poor students and low performers in class. He discovered this because when they became desk mates in their second year of middle school, he tried talking to her after school. At that time, he was thrilled to find they walked the same way home and asked, "Your house is in this direction too?" But she responded, "You have a smell. Could you not follow me?" Her face was full of disgust and impatience. "If we're going the same way home, please walk separately from me." That's when he understood. She looked down on him because she thought he carried the smell of poverty. Just as he was preparing to gradually distance himself from her, something unfortunate happened again. They became desk mates again in high school. Despite knowing her attitude, he sadly realizes he still likes her. Liking someone who constantly mocks and looks down on him is truly ironic. However, being under Park Songbin's physical bullying and Han Yena's emotional abuse for so long, he's starting to feel shame and humiliation about his life. During break time, Jung Min-jun sits on a bench in the pavilion, listening to two friends discuss games and concerts. They're Bae Junho from Class 6 and Oh Byung-jun from Class 5, his few like-minded friends who are lucky enough not to be bullied. His prolonged suppression makes him deeply envious of them. It also makes him momentarily miss Bae Junho's call. Only when Bae Junho raises his voice does he snap back to reality. Bae Junho asks if he wants to go to their idol Jian's concert together, but Jung Min-jun declines, saying he has no interest in chasing celebrities right now. He then quietly leaves, returning to the classroom. He keeps hoping for school to end soon. Just then, he hears Park Songbin and other classmates gossiping about someone behind him. From their conversation, it's clear this person left their parents at age 13 and came here from Country N. Unexpectedly, the subject of their gossip, Kang Hakchul, overhears everything. "What did you just say?" he asks. Park Songbin taunts, "What's wrong? Loser, got a problem with that?" Kang Hakchul tells him to watch his mouth, which instantly enrages Park Songbin, who grabs him by the collar. But Kang Hakchul shows no fear, just stares back at him steadily. Seeing the tense atmosphere, two classmates nearby quickly intervene. So Park Songbin leans into Kang Hakchul's ear and warns him to behave, then casually walks away. Jung Min-jun silently witnesses the whole scene. Internally complaining what a terrible class, what a terrible school, he decides that starting tomorrow, he'll never come to school again. But unluckily, he runs into Park Songbin again. With a fake smile, the bully threateningly tells him to go to the convenience store and buy cigarettes. Hearing Park Songbin's same domineering and rude demands, Jong Min-jun's had enough. Remembering he's planning to drop out anyway, he decides to thoroughly tell off this annoying guy. But when the words reach his lips, he backs down, ultimately choosing to ignore Park Seongbin and walk away. This rare behavior greatly surprises Park Seongbin. He immediately catches up to Jong Min-jun and drags him to a secluded corner of a construction site and beats him up. Park Seongbin holds up a brick, viciously threatening, "Should I just kill you today?" But the response catches him off guard. "Please, just kill me. I don't want to live anymore." Park Songbin kicks him hard instead. His tone turns sinister. "If you mention my name in a suicide note and kill yourself, just you wait. After you kill yourself, I'll go kill your mom." With that, he leaves the battered Jong Min-jun alone and walks away. On the way home, Jong Min-jun thinks wearily how great it would be if the world ended tomorrow. He looks back at that luxury building reeking of money, thinking if I fell from that height, it would all be over. This thought drives him toward that building. Just as he reaches the entrance, Han Yena stops him. "What are you doing here?" She looks confused. "You weren't sneaking in to steal something, were you?" Then she notices the bruises and wounds on Jong Min-jun's face. She walks up and asks, "Did someone hit you?" She can't help commenting, "Wow, you're such a coward. Park Songbin bullies you and you won't even fight back? Every time I see people like you, I feel so pathetic. Even if you're worthless, you should at least have the courage to resist, right?" Jong Min-jun doesn't answer, just silently turns and leaves. Seeing him ignore her, Han Yena gets angry, but then feels he's somewhat pitiful, so she mutters quietly, "I need to give Park Songbin a piece of my mind tomorrow, back home." Jong Min-jun decides to numb his painful heart with gaming. Because he's wearing headphones, he doesn't hear the screams and cries of terror outside. He plays straight through until 10 p.m. At this moment, Bae Junho and Oh Byung-jun suddenly say they need to log off even though the game isn't finished. The two discuss some newly released news, and just as Jong Min-jun is about to ask about it, there's violent knocking at the door. He walks to the door and asks, "Who's there?" No one answers, just continuous eerie knocking. He looks through the peephole and sees the neighbor uncle from upstairs groaning intermittently, "Help, help, me." Jong Min-jun doesn't think much of it, assuming the neighbor is drunk again, so he slowly opens the door. When he sees the scene before him, his pupils dilate in shock. The uncle's body is swaying, blood flowing from a wound in his abdomen looking terrifying. Jong Min-jun panics and wants to call an ambulance, but suddenly the neighbor's eyes roll back and his mouth opens wide. He lunges at him like a wild beast. This action catches Jong Min-jun completely off guard. Out of self-preservation instinct, he kicks him down, then quickly closes the door, blocking the uncle outside. He's so frightened his heart pounds wildly. His legs won't stop shaking. Remembering the neighbor's terrifying face, he realizes something is wrong. He quickly pulls out his phone to call the police, but the police line stays busy and won't connect. He also sees multiple national emergency alerts on his phone. Just then, the noisy commotion outside catches his attention. He opens the window to look. Some people on the street are going crazy, biting others. The neighbor uncle from earlier is among them. He quickly closes the window and calls his mother, who still hasn't come home, but no one answers. His heart instantly sinks, so he quickly turns off the lights, covers himself completely with a blanket, and huddles in a corner of the room. He trembles for quite a while, before daring to peek out and take out his phone to try seeking help online, but discovers the internet is down. He can only turn on the TV. The TV is broadcasting news about citizens killing people in multiple locations across the country. From the report, he learns the government has classified this incident as a terrorist attack. While Jong Min-jun is still in shock, the news footage suddenly switches to show someone attacking pedestrians on the streets of City F. Watching this bloody scene, he thinks, this is absurd. Rather than a terrorist attack or riot, it's more like something resembling zombies that I know about. He can't help wondering, how did this situation spread from City A to City F in just one day? What's the cause? But now isn't the time to investigate. He decides to first check the hallway situation, then take the chance to lock the building's main door. Seeing the stairwell is empty, he carefully pushes the door open and heads to the main entrance, quietly locks the door. After finishing this, he breathes a sigh of relief. Looking at the eerily quiet hallway, he worries about the safety of the neighbors upstairs, but right now all he can do is return to his room and wait until morning to see if police come to rescue them. He then turns on the TV again, trying to distract himself, but unfortunately the TV signal has also been cut off. He's helpless and can only lie down to sleep, but he tosses and turns for a long time, unable to fall asleep. He feels something strange. Just yesterday he thought life was hell and planned to end it. He even hoped the world would be destroyed, and now it actually has fallen into chaos. Yet at this moment he's struggling to survive, completely abandoning thoughts of death. However, he doesn't feel much emotional turmoil, because for him, before and now are no different, both are hell. The harrowing night passes. As infected people's terrifying roars echo, daylight breaks. Jong Min-jun carefully opens the door, pokes his head out to observe the situation on the street. The outside world has become a living hell. Blood everywhere, the air filled with a nauseating heavy smell of blood. Jong Min-jun quickly locks the door, knowing clearly leaving home right now would be suicide. He immediately takes stock of the remaining food at home. Fortunately, water, electricity, and gas haven't been cut off yet, so he can prepare more. At most, he can last a month, maybe wait for rescue. Thinking of this, he can't help worrying about his mother outside again, but his phone has no signal at all and can't contact anyone. He also estimates the possible number of survivors in this building. 5 households total. Besides him and the neighbor uncle uncle, there's an elderly couple and a woman living alone, plus the male college student living on the top floor, who brings his girlfriend home almost every Tuesday. And yesterday happened to be Tuesday. Jung Minjun guesses they might be on the top floor right now. He walks lightly, checking floor by floor where people live, but hears no movement anywhere. This makes his heart sink. Could the guy on the top floor have become like the neighbor uncle too? But he still decides to go check, only to find the door to the top floor is wide open. Not only that, but the door to the small room is also unlocked. After hesitating a moment, Jung Minjun decides not to call out directly. He nervously walks into the room, finding the scene messy and bloodstains on the floor. In a corner he can't see, the infected male college student is slowly walking out of the bathroom. Behind him his girlfriend, who was bitten to death. Jung Minjun naturally hears this movement and trembles all over in fear. He finally decides to slowly back out of the room. But while moving, he doesn't notice a flower pot nearby. He accidentally knocks it over, causing a loud shattering sound. Frantic roaring immediately erupts from inside. Without thinking, he runs. In his panic, he trips over himself and falls hard to the ground. At this moment, the infected person has rushed right up to him, lunging straight at him. In the critical moment, Jung Minjun dodges its attack. As it lunges toward the rooftop edge, he grabs its leg and uses the momentum to flip it backward. It falls straight down from the top floor. Hearing the dull thud of flesh hitting the ground, Jung Minjun hurries back downstairs to his home in terror. He collapses on the floor, gasping for breath, then murmurs in panic, "The guy from the top floor, he must be dead, right? He can't believe he just killed someone." But repeatedly reassures himself, none of this is his fault. He only did it to survive, he had no choice. Afterward, he just sits there until after 7 p.m. All day long, he's been consumed by guilt over killing someone. Tormented by these thoughts, he can't help but push open the building door to check the body, only to find a strangely shaped man slowly pacing on the street. Hearing the noise, the figure slowly turns around. It's the male college student Jung Minjun pushed down during the day. Due to the violent impact, his head is bent 90 degrees to one side, looking extremely bizarre. Watching that figure swaying toward him, Jung Minjun clearly realizes the crazed neighbor uncle, the male college student, and other people like them have indeed become infected. But strangely, from this moment on, he finds he's no longer so afraid of these infected people. The next day, the third day of the disaster, Jung Minjun eats a hot meal. He can't help thinking, is waiting indefinitely for rescue in his room the right choice? If he wants to call for help, maybe he should return to the rooftop and light a fire as a distress signal. He looks at the window sealed with cardboard, thinking, looks like I'll have to go out again tomorrow. Suddenly, his phone ringing startles him. He quickly looks at the caller ID, Mom. He hurriedly answers, his mother's voice coming through clearly. She tells Jung Minjun she encountered the military while escaping and is now at the Gangnam shelter, urging him absolutely not to leave his room. She says she'll find a way to get the rescue team to come for him. But before she can finish, the call drops due to unstable signal. Jung Minjun curses under his breath, then feels relieved that his mother's safety is confirmed. Just then, his phone keeps beeping with message notifications. He opens them to find messages from Bae Junho and Oh Byung-jun. They're actually joking around in the group chat at a time like this. While happy his friends are alive, he also feels somewhat sad. In this situation, the only ones willing to contact him are his mom and these two friends. At this moment, he suddenly thinks of Han Yena. She's the person he knows who lives closest to him and has even been to his house. That time, Park Songbin brought a bunch of delinquent friends to his house to eat and drink. Park Songbin even messaged Han Yena to come over, but with ulterior motives. His friend Changmin wanted to take advantage of her, but Han Yena actually came. Seeing Jung Minjun sitting quietly among the group, she realized this was his house. Seeing the beautiful girl arrive, a group of thuggish guys made a commotion trying to get her inside, but the cramped space with choking cigarette smoke and the sticky damp floor made her physically uncomfortable, so she immediately said she wanted to leave. Hearing Han Yena complain about the environment inside, he felt unbearably sad. Compared to Park Songbin bringing people to his house to drink, Han Yena's reaction made him feel even more pathetic. Recalling this, Jung Minjun can't help worrying about Han Yena's safety. But then he thinks, Han Yena's father is a hospital director, so he should have ways to handle this kind of crisis. However, the next second, a faint calling voice comes from outside. Jung Minjun whips his head toward the door, thinking he's hallucinating. But that voice sounds again. Jung Minjun, are you in there? If you are, open the door. Hearing the familiar voice, Jung Minjun can't believe it. He cries out, Han Yena! At this moment, Han Yena outside the window also hears his voice. She knocks on the window again, hoping he'll let her in. But this noise attracts the attention of infected people on the street. They quickly close in on Han Yena. She pounds on the window harder, looking anxious. Hurry up and open the door, please answer me. At the critical moment, Jung Minjun throws open the building door, shouting urgently, get in here, just before the infected reach the entrance. He gets Han Yena inside and locks the door. Crisis averted, Han Yena weakly collapses to the floor. Seeing this, Jung Minjun approaches her with concern, asking, are you okay? How did you end up here? Before he finishes, Han Yena grabs his clothes and throws herself into his embrace, feeling her trembling body. Jung Minjun is momentarily at a loss, his tone confused. What happened? Realizing they're too close, Han Yena quickly lets go. Looking at him, her tone unusually gentle, Jung Minjun, thank you. If it weren't for you, I might already be dead. The goddess's praise immediately makes Jung Minjun shy. That's good. I'm glad we're both okay. After calming down, Han Yena looks around, asking curiously, is it just you here right now? Jung Minjun then explains his situation to her. After finishing, he asks about her experience. Han Yena tells him her father is safe at his workplace, but when mentioning her mother, she hesitates, then says her parents will definitely both be fine. After speaking, she asks Jung Minjun for water, saying she hasn't had water in days, yet she practically chugs down 3 large bottles in one go, watching her nearly finish the 4th bottle. bottle. Jung Minjun thinks in amazement, how much water is she going to drink? In these circumstances, water is a precious resource. If she keeps drinking like this and the water gets cut off, they'll both be done for. But thinking she risked her life to get here, he understands. He can't help asking, were you originally staying at home before coming here? I've been hiding outside these past few days. Han Yena's answer shocks him. She tells him that on the day she ran into him. Because she had things to do, she went home to change clothes, then went out again, heading to the shopping center near her house. But halfway there, the crowd ahead suddenly broke into chaos, the scene complete disorder. She scattered with the crowd, hiding in a stairwell of the nearby shopping street. The stairwell had an unlocked door. She went in and found a small conference room, but the door leading into the building wouldn't open, so she could only hide in the conference room. Fortunately, there was a bottle of water inside, which kept her going for 3 days. Later, unable to hold on, she had no choice but to come out and try to go home. But the usual route had infected people wandering around. She could only choose another alley. She kept hiding along the way and actually ended up at the community where Jung Minjun lives. Seeing infected people appearing from time to time, she decided to take shelter at Jung Minjun's place first. So even though there were infected people by the roadside, she had no choice but to steel herself and pass by, finally making her way to Jung Minjun's place after much difficulty. Hearing Han Yena's account, Jung Minjun can't help praising her bravery, but Han Yena suddenly stands up, saying she wants to take a shower, looking at her sweat-soaked armpits. Jung Minjun thinks briefly, then asks, by the way, your underarms are all wet, you must have sweated a lot, right? Want to change clothes? I can lend you some. Han Yena misunderstands, thinking he has some perverted thoughts. She immediately kicks him several times and calls him a disgusting loser, then turns and walks into the bathroom, leaving Jung Minjun completely baffled. Hearing the sound of water from the bathroom, he starts thinking about the next plan. He was already planning to go out and look around, but with Han Yena's sudden appearance, he can't leave her alone here. But if they both stay in the room, at the current rate of food consumption, they can only last half a month at most. At this moment, he feels somewhat lost. While lost in thought, the bathroom door suddenly opens. Han Yena asks to borrow clothes. He's flattered and quickly finds a clean set of clothes to hand over. Han Yena sniffs them and says with disgust, ugh, they smell musty. But in this situation, she has no choice and reluctantly puts them on. Listening to her endless complaints, Jung Minjun can't help thinking, at a time like this, she still cares about whether the clothes are comfortable after dinner. Han Yena asks Jung Minjun about his plans. Learning he originally planned to leave, she excitedly asks why he'd risk going out when there's food at home. Jung Minjun quickly explains that was his plan before she came. Since she's here now, they should stay home together and wait for rescue. What if we run out of food? Han Yena asks. Jung Minjun says they could consider breaking into other residents' doors to find food, but aside from the top floor, he's not sure if other residents have become infected. Considering the worst case scenario, they might ultimately still have to leave. Han Yena firmly states she absolutely won't go out. You haven't been outside, have you? As long as you stay out there for a while, you'll definitely change your mind immediately. But Jung Minjun says calmly that as long as they're careful to hide, they should be able to move successfully. Additionally, from his observations, only people who are bitten become infected. Anyway, as long as we don't come in contact with them, you made it here successfully, didn't you? He continues explaining, I've noticed not all infected move fast. Depending on the degree of injury, their behavior varies. Some approach quietly, others lie there motionless like corpses. Plus, those infected run slower than normal people sprinting, which means we have a good chance of avoiding them. After hearing this, Han Yena stops arguing and instead orders Jung Minjun to make up her bed. Jung Minjun feels uncomfortable but does it anyway. However, when Han Yena sees 2 pillows on the bed, she looks at the boy beside her in disbelief. Are you crazy? You want to sleep with me? She points to the bathroom. You sleep there, Jung Minjun says awkwardly. Either way, this is my house. Making me sleep in the bathroom is a bit. Han Yena sighs deeply, deliberately saying, as an uninvited guest, I must be mentally unstable. I'll go sleep in the bathroom. You sleep comfortably right here. Jung Minjun quickly stops her, telling her to sleep peacefully in the room. After some insincere back and forth, Jung Minjun ends up sleeping in the kitchen. Although Han Yena talks a lot and likes bossing him around, at least he's not so lonely anymore. Meanwhile, Han Yena also can't fall asleep for a long time. The intermittent zombie roars from outside scare her, so she softly calls out to Jung Minjun, saying, come sleep in the room. I'm a bit scared alone. So Jung Minjun stays in the corner of the room, keeping her company, and she starts rambling again. These sounds, I've heard them enough in the stairwell, but they still feel strange and terrifying. As she speaks, she chokes up, I miss my mom so much. Hearing the girl's quiet sobbing, Jung Minjun just sits there silently, keeping her company through the night. The next day, daylight brightens, watching Han Yena sleeping soundly. Jung Minjun can't help exclaiming, wow, what time is she going to sleep until? The exhausted Han Yena sleeps until 9 a.m. Just as she wakes up, she sees Jung Minjun putting on his jacket, apparently preparing to go out. Seeing she's awake, he tells her he's planning to go to the rooftop again. He asks if she wants to come along, but she says in terror she doesn't dare go out, so he goes out alone. Reaching the main door, he's shocked to find cracks in the glass. Immediately realizing this door won't hold much longer, he continues upward, but hears Han Yena's voice behind him. There's a nasty smell. He turns back in surprise, hearing her continue, I just have a bad feeling. Then the two come to the rooftop together. Jung Minjun discovers the male college student's girlfriend lying in the bathroom. She's exactly what he mentioned before, an infected person lying there like a corpse. He walks out with a grim expression, explaining the situation inside to Han Yena. Then the two discuss the materials needed for lighting a fire and the right timing. After that, the two begin their life of depending on each other. Han Yena gradually treats the place as her own home. No matter big or small, she takes it for granted that Jung Minjun should do everything. Jung Minjun gradually can't stand this lifestyle. He scrubs Han Yena's clothes vigorously, raging internally, damn it, I'm definitely going to leave her here and escape escape by myself, but he can only think about it, not daring to actually do it. By now, the electricity has been cut off, only water remains, and their food supplies are nearly depleted. He knows clearly that this seemingly stable life is just a false illusion. After that, he goes out every day as usual, patrolling around the community once. Through days of observation, he makes new discoveries. Infected people attack living humans but won't attack the dead or already infected. Their activity range is within 50 to 100 meters, though these characteristics aren't consistent for every infected person. Because their hearing is acute, making noise must be avoided at all costs. Additionally, there are 2 to 3 times fewer infected wandering outside during the day than at night, so he theorizes infected people dislike sunlight. Therefore, walking outside at night is absolutely forbidden. He's not sure if it's his imagination, but he feels the infected people's various behaviors are very similar to the zombie game he often plays. If these infected are really related to that game, then everything happening now might just be the beginning. When that time comes, the apocalypse will truly arrive. Inside the room, Hanyena glances at the time on the wall. Complaining, said he'd be back in 30 minutes, that Jung Minjun is late again, getting more and more disobedient. Just as she finishes speaking, a helicopter roars past outside the window. She can't help complaining, what's the point? It turns out when the helicopter first passed by, they tried lighting a fire for help, but no matter how they waved and shouted, the people on board flew straight away as if they didn't see them. After another lengthy stretch of time, unable to wait for Jung Minjun, Hanyena gradually grows anxious. She paces back and forth in the room guessing whether he was attacked by infected, and when the agreed time exceeds 3 hours, this anxiety completely turns to despair. Hanyena chokes out, Jung Minjun, please, you're not dead, are you? She helplessly hugs herself, quietly pleading, please come back soon, don't leave me alone. Just as she's grieving, there's finally movement at the door. Jung Minjun gasps and calls out quietly, Hanyena, look at this. But when he sees her, he freezes. Hanyena looks at him through teary eyes, her face full of helplessness. You're 3 hours late, you jerk. Are you trying to get yourself killed? She's about to hit him, but he stops her. Wait, look at this first. He shows her the flyer in his hand, explaining, the helicopter dropped a bunch of these earlier. I came back late because I was looking for it. When she sees the content on the flyer clearly, Hanyena's eyes widen in shock. What is this? The flyer clearly states, the entire Gangpo district will be completely sealed off at 6 p.m. on the 10th, Hanyena exclaims. They're sealing it tomorrow? There are so many Gangpo residents, how is that reasonable? But Jung Minjun tells her to look at the back of the flyer showing the safety index for each Gangpo district. She carefully reviews it and finds Zhongshan Road in their Gangpo district marked as caution, while even the nearby Yongshan Road is marked safe. However, the areas surrounding Yongpo district are all marked extremely dangerous. Jung Minjun speculates that soon Jungpo district's situation will also become serious. He regrets it somewhat. We really shouldn't have stayed here waiting for rescue. Hanyena quickly asks, should we escape from Gangpo immediately? Jung Minjun thinks quickly, since Jungpo district has so many infected yet is only marked caution, the extremely dangerous areas must be far worse than imaginable. With this in mind, he says, if the northern areas are all serious, then we can't continue fleeing north from the Gangpo district. He makes a decision. We have no choice but to cross the Fortress River. He analyzes the route in detail. The fastest route is from Yongsan or through Dongmun district to Dongsong district, but both areas show extremely dangerous, so we can only detour through Gangdong. Fortunately, Yongshan Road is still relatively safe, so let's take the long way and head there. Low infection rates must have a reason. Maybe police or military set up roadblocks to control access. This well-reasoned analysis surprises Hanyena. She can't help exclaiming, wow, I thought you were a stupid loser, but you're actually quite smart. Jung Minjun isn't in the mood for her teasing, his face serious. In any case, we must leave here immediately. Hanyena's face shows resistance. But it's already nighttime. Jung Minjun compromises, saying they must leave by tomorrow morning at the latest. Hanyena suggests holding out a few more days to wait for rescue. But Jung Minjun doesn't want to compromise for her anymore. Hanyena, if you want to die miserably in this semi-basement, then stay. I'll leave on my own tomorrow morning. Hearing his ultimatum, Hanyena knows she can no longer avoid reality, so she resignedly accepts the plan. Early morning, just as dawn breaks, the two prepare to set out. At this moment, Jung Minjun asks hesitantly, are you sure you don't need to check on your dad's hospital? Hanyena falls silent for a moment, a flash of complex emotions in her eyes. Then she says with forced lightness, it's fine, let's hurry up and leave. The last time I talked to dad on the phone, he said he already took mom to hide in a shelter, so that should be enough, right? Jung Minjun appears to accept this, but thinks something is strange inside what's going on. After leaving the door, Jung Minjun takes the lead, moving forward slowly and carefully. After confirming the surrounding infected haven't noticed them, he gestures to Hanyena behind him, who carefully follows. The two make their way through, reaching the area near the shopping district without obstruction. After walking for a long time, Hanyena can't help complaining, is Yongshan Road really this far? Isn't it supposed to be nearby? Jung Minjun tells her to hang in there a bit longer, but Hanyena really can't walk anymore and pleads, can we rest for 5 minutes? You're walking too fast. My feet really hurt. But Jung Minjun ignores her and turns to keep walking, which greatly displeases her, you jerk. All along the way, listening to Hanyena's complaints while avoiding infected, Jung Minjun also starts getting irritated. Then the two reach an intersection and discover a massive roadblock set up there. Looking at the mountain of stacked furniture, Hanyena can't help expressing amazement. At this point, Jung Minjun explains that from this roadblock onward is Yongshan Road. Judging by the scale of the roadblock, Yongshan Road is indeed safer than other areas. So the two decide to climb over the roadblock to find other survivors. However, just as Jung Minjun is struggling to climb, Hanyena insists on resting first. Hearing this, he finally can't help being sarcastic. Stop pretending you're tired and get over here. This statement stuns Hanyena. She murmurs in disbelief, what's with this guy's attitude? What happens next is just like at the beginning. The The two run forward frantically, when suddenly they see a middle-aged man pushing aside a bookshelf by the roadside. He urgently urges them, "Hurry, this way!" After the two enter, Jung Minjun helps the man move the heavy bookshelf. But at this moment, an infected person has already rushed up to them. Due to the bookshelf's obstruction, it can't immediately pounce on the man. The man kicks it to the ground. But this incident causes the original roadblock to be breached. They hurry to flee deeper into the alley. The two climb up the tall roadblock. Jung Minjun urges Hanyena to jump down quickly. They land simultaneously, but Hanyena lets out a pained groan, saying she twisted her ankle. Unexpectedly at this moment, two more infected rush out from ahead. At this life or death moment, Jung Minjun recalls what Hanyena once said, and courage to resist surges within him. He slowly pulls out a knife from his chest, standing in front of Hanyena. At this moment, he has only one thought: even if he dies here, he absolutely won't die halfway through a pathetic escape after being bitten. Suddenly, the roar of a motorcycle comes from behind. Park Song-bin rushes forward with a baseball bat and shouts at Jung Minjun, "Duck!" With one swing, he smashes an infected person's head. Other boys traveling with him also join the fight, beating the infected to pieces. This sudden turn of events catches the two off guard. On the other side, after Park Song-bin finishes off the infected, he finally notices Hanyena behind him. "What are you doing here?" When he sees Jung Minjun beside her, he asks meaningfully, "Oh, and who's this?" Jung Minjun's heart sinks. This is bad, running into someone even more annoying than the infected. Hanyena is first to approach and thank Park Song-bin. Park Song-bin invites her to come with them, revealing their hideout has about 15 people. She asks why they're not evacuating, and he says it's too late to escape now. It's a long story he'll explain once they reach the hideout. Then he offers to give her a ride back on his motorcycle. As he says this, he stares at her for a moment, his gaze dark and unclear. But Hanyena turns to look at Jung Minjun, asking, "But Jung Minjun has to come too. How will he get there?" Park Song-bin is puzzled. That guy too? The other classmates object to bringing Jung Minjun back. But unexpectedly, Park Song-bin agrees to let Jung Minjun join. However, Jung Minjun himself refuses. "I'm not going with you guys. I'll find my own way out. My destination isn't here." With that, he turns to leave. Seeing his rare kindness rejected, Park Song-bin flies into a rage and starts cursing. He threatens viciously, "The country's in chaos anyway. I really could kill you this time." Hearing this, Hanyena immediately starts arguing with him, seeing her constantly speak up for him. Jung Minjun can't help recalling the conversation Park Song-bin's group had at his house that day. That vulgar talk was unbearable to hear. He can't help worrying. If Hanyena goes with them, it's like a lamb walking into a tiger's den. Thinking this, he suddenly changes his mind. "Sorry, Seong-bin, I'll come with you guys." Park Song-bin welcomes this, saying they'll rest at the hideout first and take him where he wants to go tomorrow. After this, the group arrives at an underground passage. Jung Minjun immediately recognizes that ahead in the passage is where Park Song-bin beat him up that day. After entering the construction site, seeing the people behind restoring the roadblock, Jung Minjun whispers to Hanyena, "No matter how I think about it, we shouldn't be traveling with them. We should find a chance to leave. I feel like they'll harm us." But Hanyena tells him not to worry. In her view, Park Song-bin and his friends are just losers. Besides, he just said there are other adults at the hideout. Jung Minjun thinks she shouldn't easily trust Park Song-bin's words because he knows Park Song-bin's true nature. He then tells Hanyena all the vulgar things Park Song-bin said at his house that day. After hearing this, Hanyena's heart skips a beat. She immediately calls out to Park Song-bin, saying she's decided to leave after all. She tells him her parents are at a shelter on Seopyeong Road, so she wants to get there as soon as possible to find them. But Park Song-bin tells her terrible news. The Seopyeong Road shelter has completely fallen. If she really wants to go, she can wait until tomorrow and leave with them. But Hanyena insists on leaving now. Without waiting for his response, she's about to leave with Jung Minjun. Unexpectedly at this moment, the others present block their way. Park Song-bin's gaze suddenly turns sharp. "What secret do you and Jung Minjun have? What are you two suddenly up to?" Hanyena finally understands Jung Minjun's concerns were right. She tries to appear calm, but her trembling body betrays her. Nearby, Jung Minjun thinks to himself, "Just as I thought, I knew things would turn out this way." He knows they can't confront Park Song-bin and his group head-on right now, so he pretends to persuade Hanyena. "Let's go with them first, then explain properly." The two follow Park Song-bin through the underground passage. Looking at the densely stacked roadblocks on both sides of the path, Jung Minjun suddenly realizes, no wonder infected can't get close to here. Seeing Hanyena's worried expression beside him, he gently touches her, quietly reassuring her, "Don't worry, he's already decided from just now. He absolutely won't leave Hanyena's side." Just as he finishes speaking, a suddenly erupting roar startles Hanyena. Behind the tempered glass on one side, several infected are violently crashing against it. Seeing Hanyena cry out in fright, Park Song-bin mocks her cowardice, then says those infected can't get in here. Jung Minjun just finds it absurd to think they'd build a hideout in such a dangerous place, but then he sees the stairs leading to the second floor and understands why Park Song-bin told them not to worry. As long as they remove the stairs, infected can't come up. When the group reaches the second floor, Park Song-bin suddenly becomes respectful. "I brought the people back, bro." In front sits a fat man with a big head and ears. He asks, puzzled, "Who are these people?" Upon hearing the girl beside Park Song-bin is the famous Hanyena. This fat guy Lee Bong-yu's eyes immediately light up. He tells Hanyena to settle down here peacefully, but she says Gangpo is about to be completely sealed off, so continuing to stay here probably isn't wise. Lee Bong-yu reveals this news is fake, explaining that the Fortress River Bridge and all roads leading to Gangnam have been sealed off, so they can only stay here and wait for the rescue team. Looking at the complete equipment inside the construction site, Jung Minjun thinks to himself, did they prepare all this themselves? Could it be? At this moment, he notices several middle-aged men nearby and suddenly understands the hideout was originally built by those people, but was taken over by Lee Bong-yu and his group on the other side after hearing Park Song-bin and Lee Bong-yu discussing her. Han-yena curses inwardly, then pulls Park Song-bin aside, asking, "I don't want to hear your jokes right now. Can you let me leave here? You know very well I hate this kind of situation, especially those friends who hang around with you. I really can't stay here, and I can't trust what Lee Bong-yu says. I think we should stick to the original plan and check it out." After speaking, she prepares to leave, but Park Song-bin suddenly grabs her hand, his tone full of threat. "You think everything can still go your way?" Han-yena is too scared to speak. At this moment, Jung Minjin steps forward and grabs Park Song-bin's hand, persuading, "Don't do this." Seeing the person he used to bully dare to interfere, Park Song-bin is quite shocked. He glares at Jung Minjin with sinister eyes, grinding his teeth. "Jung Minjin, you bastard. You finally lost it. If I refuse, what can you do about it? Fuck, are you going to stab me with that knife from earlier?" Their argument attracts Lee Bong-yu. Park Song-bin makes up some excuse to brush him off, then tells Lee Bong-yu that Jung Minjin has a knife. Lee Bong-yu is alarmed. "You with the glasses. You're carrying such a dangerous thing. Hand it over unless you want a beating." Jung Minjin knows he can't let his only weapon be taken, but even with a knife he can't handle 5 people. After weighing his options, he still hands over the knife. Seeing the matter resolved, Lee Bong-yu turns and puts his arm around Han-yena's shoulder, inviting her to rest in the tent. When she sees the double bed inside the tent, Han-yena's face shows panic, as her mind frantically thinks of ways to stall for time. The next second, she thinks quickly and uses the excuse that she's hungry and wants to eat. Lee Bong-yu immediately says he looted lots of pork belly from a meat shop and wants to have a barbecue party. Hearing their conversation, Jung Minjin feels powerless inside. This is just terrible. There are no police in this area at all. It's just like lawless territory, especially for Han-yena. Those thugs are as dangerous as the infected. Lee Bong-yu will definitely not let her go. He frantically thinks of ways to immediately get her out of here. Should he let the infected in to create chaos? But what about the other survivors? Yet he also can't be sure those 3 men are completely trustworthy. Or should they wait until late at night when everyone's asleep to escape? But what if they do something to Han-yena before then? His mind is in turmoil, not knowing what to do for the moment. After this, everyone starts grilling meat. A lackey hands Jung Minjin a plate of grilled meat, telling him to take it to those men. Looking at the meager amount of meat on the plate, Jung Minjin thinks, this is too much. He decides to share his portion with those men too. Feeling Jung Minjin's kindness, the men sincerely thank him. Night falls as expected. Looking at Han-yena sitting on the ground, Lee Bong-yu complains dissatisfied. "Why do you keep sitting there? Come rest together." Han-yena firmly refuses him. "I'll just sleep outside the tent by myself." This statement angers Lee Bong-yu, who immediately stands up about to walk toward her. But Park Seong-bin blocks him. "Don't force her, bro." Seeing Lee Bong-yu's puzzled expression, his remaining patience runs out, his face darkening. "I said don't force her, you bastard. Park Seong-bin, you son of a bitch, are you crazy?" Lee Bong-yu starts cursing him wildly, but Park Seong-bin says sinisterly, "Lee Bong-yu, when I decide to stay here with you, I already thought it through. If I'm going to kill, I'll kill you first." He approaches Lee Bong-yu, announcing word by word, "From now on, I'm the leader here." Lee Bong-yu can't take it anymore and swings a punch at him, but it's easily blocked by the other, who then locks his throat. A blonde lackey nearby is about to help, but gets hit in the head with a stick by Park Song-bin's lackey. The 3 quickly subdue Lee Bong-yu and his man. Watching this sudden turn of events, Jung Minjin thinks, now's the time. He immediately shouts to Han-yena beside him, "Let's go!" then rushes toward the stairs. Park Song-bin witnesses all this and orders, "Catch them!" The lackey in blue quickly grabs Han-yena, pulling out a knife to threaten, "Don't move if you don't want to die!" But Han-yena bites down hard on his hand. Taking advantage of his pain loosening, she hurries toward Jung Minjin. Seeing the girl escape, the enraged lackey suddenly thrusts the knife at her. In the critical moment, Jung Minjin steps forward and firmly blocks his knife-wielding hand. Seeing the class loser dare to ruin his plans, the lackey in blue kicks him hard. The blade in his hand slashes forward, spattered blood drips down. Jung Minjin's abdomen is slashed. Then another lackey in white kicks him to the ground. The 2 gang up on him. Han-yena also fails to escape. Park Song-bin catches her and begins a twisted confession. It turns out he's been coveting her since middle school. His family background isn't bad, he dresses well, and his physique is decent, yet she just won't look at him. What you can't have is most tempting, so he kept thinking about her until the darkness inside erupted like a volcano. At this moment he shows an extremely evil twisted expression, "Our precious Yena, let me have you just once." At this moment, one of the men steps forward to stop him. "Student, no matter what, you can't treat a girl like this." But Park Song-bin unceremoniously kicks him to the ground. He looks down at the fallen man from above, his gaze cold. "Didn't I warn you last time that if you meddle again I'd kill you?" He pronounces judgment like death itself. "This is the second warning, time to send you off." With that, he grabs the man's outer clothing and pushes him down hard. The loud crash immediately attracts the infected's attention. They quickly swarm over and attack the man. The other 2 men angrily protest. Park Song-bin ignores them, having his 2 lackeys push them down too. Nearby, Han-yena anxiously checks Jung Minjin's injuries, urging him to flee quickly. Park Song-bin appears behind her like a ghost. "Where are you running to, Yena? Outside is hell, you should stay here and play with me." With that, he forcibly drags her away. The lackey in blue handles the aftermath, preparing to push Jung Minjin down too. But because Jung Minjin isn't light, he calls his companion to help drag him. Just as they're about to push him down, Jung Minjin suddenly grabs his collar. He stumbles and falls down together with Jung Minjin. The loud commotion alarms Park Song-bin. The lackey in white quickly reports the accident. At this moment, the lackey in blue lies on the ground groaning in pain. He tries to get up, only to discover his right leg is broken. Nearby, Jung Minjin shakily stands up wanting to leave, but the lackey in blue grabs his leg tightly. "Help me, Minjin." Before he finishes speaking, infected from behind pounce on him. A piercing scream instantly echoes through the night sky. Witnessing the scene, the 2 on the second floor are terrified. Taking this chance, Han-yena turns and runs. Park Song-bin immediately chases after her. Han Yena leaps onto a supporting beam, then steps on the roadblock bit by bit, trying to reach the opposite side. Park Song-bin quickly catches up and shouts at her to stop. Han Yena ignores his threats and continues moving on top of the swaying bookshelf. She looks at the platform separated by some distance from the bookshelf, feeling apprehensive, but Park Song-bin is still shouting behind her. She knows she can't stop, so she takes a deep breath and jumps forcefully. In one leap, she successfully lands on the other side. She looks back, only to see Park Song-bin approaching her step by step. But when he steps on the last bookshelf, an accident happens. The already haphazardly stacked roadblock collapses in an instant. He falls straight to the first floor. Watching the bedraggled Park Song-bin, Han Yena gets an idea. She shouts at those infected, "Over here, this direction! Everyone come this way!" The commotion immediately attracts the infected's attention. Park Song-bin rages impotently in fury, but soon has no time to care for himself. Infected are already charging at him. He immediately takes off running. Han Yena looks around trying to find traces of Zhang Minjun, and the person she's worried about finally limps out from a corner. He struggles to grab the iron frame, slowly climbing up using the air conditioning unit. Han Yena quickly reaches out to help and pulls him up. Before the two can catch their breath, the lackey in white catches up again. The two immediately jump down, landing on the first floor on the other side. Han Yena supports Zhang Minjun, slowly walking toward a quiet alley. Under the cover of night, the infected become even more frenzied. At this moment, Zhang Minjun suddenly speaks, "Han Yena, take this chance to escape on your own." Han Yena refutes, "What are you saying? I'll definitely find a place to hide. I'll definitely save you." After walking a while, they come to a place with streetlights. At this moment, Han Yena notices an open door ahead with lights on inside. She walks in and discovers it's a warehouse. After confirming there's no movement inside, she decides to rest here briefly. After the double torment of knife wounds and fall injuries, Zhang Minjun has exhausted all his strength. Looking at the weak boy before her, Han Yena's face shows worry. "Please be okay." As she speaks, her eyes moisten and she can't help choking up. "It's my fault. Because of me, you kept staying at home. Because of me, you were surrounded by infected and fell into danger. Because of me, you were brought to the construction site and got hurt. And I also caused you to be bullied at school." Just as she's crying, rhythmic footsteps suddenly sound behind her. Looking at the shadow cast on the ground by the light, Han Yena's heart pounds. Who is it? The next second, a man carrying a backpack and wielding an axe emerges. Seeing Han Yena and the boy, the man and his companion in green both breathe a sigh of relief, but the man in green looks at them more and more familiarly, and Han Yena also remembers it's the man who helped them before. The two men notice the injured Zhang Minjun on the ground and panic somewhat. "He wasn't bitten by infected, was he?" Han Yena quickly explains. "He wasn't bitten. He was stabbed with a knife." The man in green asks his companion if he has a first aid kit. The companion answers yes, but inadvertently circles behind Han Yena and covers her mouth, controlling her. It turns out these two men have ill intentions toward her. Just as the two are discussing how to handle the girl, they don't notice the figure appearing at the door. Until that person speaks to stop them, everyone stop. "I'll count to 3, get out of here now." Before he finishes speaking, the man in green grabs his weapon and charges at him, but the newcomer pulls out a dagger, nimbly dodges the attack, then slits his throat in one clean motion. The blood spurting from his companion's neck makes the man in black tremble all over. He hurriedly holds the axe to Han Yena's neck, threatening, "Don't move. Try anything funny and I'll slit this girl's throat." Before he finishes, he's already been hit in the head by that person's throwing knife. Looking at the astonishingly powerful boy before her, Han Yena calls out in a daze, "You're Kang Hakchul?" After this, Kang Hakchul bandages Zhang Minjun's wound and explains, "His wound isn't deep, there's no life-threatening danger. The fainting probably isn't from excessive blood loss, but from being beaten or hit. He needs at least a day of rest." Han Yena is curious why his bandaging technique is so skilled, and Kang Hakchul says lightly he learned it by chance before. Speaking of which, this area is very dangerous. Why are you staying here? Han Yena explains in detail what happened. Learning that Park Song-bin is at the abandoned construction site and being chased by infected, Kang Hakchul muses he might still be alive, and Yongchan Road is no longer safe now either. He tells Han Yena that due to loose organizational management, the number of infected has rapidly increased since yesterday. Now people crazier than the infected have also flooded into this area. Girls like you I've almost never seen outside, so you must be careful. Not just Yongchan Road, most of Gangpo is no different from lawless territory. Why are you here then? Han Yena asks back. Kang Hakchul answers calmly, "I have some personal reasons. I originally planned to set out for Gangnam first thing tomorrow morning." This statement immediately delights Han Yena. Then she remembers the flyer's content, but the flyer said Gangpo was already sealed off today. "The situation is even worse now," Kang Hakchul says gravely. "I'm not sure if all of Gangpo is sealed off, but all the bridges over the fortress river leading to Gangnam were blocked at least 2 days ago." This news makes Han Yena's heart sink. Kang Hakchul continues, "However, it's not completely hopeless. If we can find a duck boat or small yacht, we should be able to cross the fortress river." Han Yena asks worriedly, "But is Gangnam really safe?" "Gangnam certainly can't guarantee 100% safety, but my sister has already gone to a shelter in Gangnam, so I have to go no matter what." Kang Hakchul answers. Han Yena asks why he was separated from his sister, so he slowly explains. It turns out on the second day of the outbreak, he hid in a nearby temporary shelter with his sister and uncle. Soon the military arrived, saying Gangpo was too dangerous and they were transferring some survivors. But only the elderly and children could be evacuated first, so he had to stay at the shelter. At that time, he asked a soldier, "Where are you taking my sister?" The other only answered, "We'll take her to the Gangnam shelter." Speaking to this point, Kang Hakchul's tone drops, but the military never came back. What about your uncle? Han Yena asks. Kang Hakchul tells her that shortly after, infected also appeared in the shelter. He successfully escaped, but his uncle became infected. After speaking, he picks up his backpack and stands, saying he'll set out as soon as it's light. Han Yena urgently begs him to take them along, but Kang Hakchul says taking 2 people is too much. In his experience, when 3 or more people travel together, there's often danger. At least one person will die. But Han Yena directly kneels to plead, because with just her and Zhang Minjun, they have no idea how to escape from here. Kang Hakchul silently watches her for a moment, then sighs. Han Yena, you've really changed a lot, though we're in the same class. I don't really know you. I always feel you're very different from how you are at school. He ultimately agrees to her request. Wait until dawn, after Zhang Minjun wakes up, then we'll talk. Get some good rest first. The next morning, Kang Hakchul wakes Han Yena asking, when you escaped from the abandoned construction site, you didn't see what happened to Park Songbin in the end, right? After receiving her affirmative answer, he says he's going to the abandoned construction site. Han Yena strongly urges him not to go, believing Park Songbin has already become infected. She sees him as her lifeline if something happens to you. Hearing this, Kang Hakchul just smiles slightly. Do you want to know how my sister and I escaped from Country N when I was 12? Just because we trusted our uncle who settled in Country B, we started from inland Country N, evading surveillance all the way, crossing the river like ghosts, hiding and traversing through Country C, finally reaching Country T. We walked a full 10,000 kilometers over 2 years to escape, but along the way, I lost a younger brother. He instructs Han Yena to take care of Zhang Minjun, then leaves. After this, he arrives at the abandoned construction site, jumps onto the platform. Looking around, is Park Songbin dead or alive? Before long, Zhang Minjun finally wakes up. He asks where they are now, and Han Yena explains everything that happened after he passed out, but Zhang Minjun says after falling from the 2nd floor, he can't remember what happened after. Just as he's recalling, Han Yena suddenly holds his hand, choking up. Do you know how worried I was thinking you were going to die? Zhang Minjun's cheeks flush red from her gesture. Realizing the atmosphere is a bit awkward, Han Yena feels somewhat embarrassed and pushes Zhang Minjun away, then starts rambling complaints at him like usual. But at this moment, even Han Yena herself hasn't noticed that she's developed different feelings for Zhang Minjun. Not long after, knocking sounds, and their hearts tighten. Only when they hear Kang Hakchul's voice do they relax. Kang Hakchul brings back Zhang Minjun's backpack. Not only that, he also retrieved Zhang Minjun's glasses. The unexpected recovery relaxes Zhang Minjun's mood considerably. At this moment, Han Yena asks, did you check the construction site? Park Songbin, Kang Hakchul tells her Park Songbin isn't at the construction site. And aside from him, everyone else has already been infected. So we might run into Park Songbin? Han Yena is somewhat anxious. Kang Hakchul tells her not to worry, because when it comes to killing, he'll definitely win. Speaking of which, I said yesterday that I'm leaving Gangpo. He looks at the 2 people before him. Can you obediently follow me? Of course, even if we're leaving right now, we definitely have to go, Zhang Minjun answers. But we can't rush things, let's make a plan first before acting. With that, Kang Hakchul takes out a pen and starts writing on the whiteboard. After some thinking, he comes up with another way to cross the Fortress River, which is to take line 5. Zhang Minjun is surprised. The Fortress River underground passage, Han Yena questions whether this method is viable, because the density of infected in the subway is very high. Kang Hakchul explains they just need to enter the tunnel through the glass doors installed at the line 5 platform. But they're surely not the only ones with this idea, and the government might have already sealed the tunnel. However, it's still worth checking out. Additionally, the nearest Line 5 station is Jiangin Station, and the situation will become more dangerous after entering the Jiangin district. He then begins explaining the escape plan in detail, talking until dusk. Finally, Kang Hakchul tells them the survival rules they should follow. First, since Gangpo is already sealed off, don't rush or force actions. Even if they find a safe place, stay for several days, rest to recover strength, then set out again fully prepared. Second, aside from district movement, if they need to go out short distances from temporary resting places, 1 to 2 people must go together. When moving outdoors, avoid having all 3 go out simultaneously. Third, if they encounter a life-threatening dangerous situation, absolutely do not sacrifice yourself for others. After fully preparing everything, the 3 set out the next morning. Just before leaving, Kang Hakchul hands his mace to Zhang Minjun. Looking at the bloodstained weapon, Zhang Minjun feels his legs go weak. Seeing this, Kang Hakchul encourages him, entrusting him with this important responsibility, and instructs him to strike the heart or pierce the head when encountering infected. Then the 3 come outside. At this moment, Zhang Minjun is still conflicted. Is it really okay to kill infected? The infected were once ordinary people. Although they rush over to kill me, that's not their choice. If I kill them, doesn't that make me a murderer too? What if this country's judicial system hasn't completely collapsed? Will my actions later be judged as criminal? However, Kang Hakchul's words pull him back to reality. You're not thinking pointless thoughts, are you? Those slogans are garbage. His gaze is indifferent. This concerns life and death. You absolutely can't be distracted to survive. If you don't make up your mind, you'll die immediately. During their conversation, Han Yena, walking ahead, looks worriedly at what's in front. She hesitantly speaks. Can we not take this road? I feel like there are a lot of infected. How do you know? Kang Hakchul asks. As long as infected get close, I can smell their distinctive stench. The smell here is especially strong, Han Yena answers. Kang Hakchul is very surprised. You can sense where the infected are. Han Yena explains it's a kind of intuition. Sometimes she can also sense corpses, but if there are only 1 or 2 infected, she can't detect them unless they're close. Zhang Minjun suddenly realizes. It was like this several times before too. Han Yena has a keen sense of smell and reacts strongly to odors. At this moment, Kang Hakchul says he'll personally go ahead to confirm. He walks to the corner, and indeed discovers discovers a large number of infected gathered there. After returning, he confirms the situation is accurate and points out they need to change routes. At this moment, Zhang Minjun signals the two to look up. There's an infected soldier on the rooftop of the building next door. They immediately enter this building. Kang Hokchul observes with binoculars that there are at least 3 or more infected on the opposite rooftop. One of them is even carrying a rifle on their back. Zhang Minjun guesses he wants to get that gun and immediately tries to stop him. No one can guarantee there are bullets in the gun, and even if there are, the gunshot will attract more infected. Moreover, they don't even know how to use a rifle. But Kang Hokchul says he knows how to use a gun and insists on getting it. Zhang Minjun no longer objects. He thinks again of the zombie game he used to play, uneasiness surging in his heart. If reality truly syncs with the game, sooner or later they'll need weapons like guns. So he agrees to Kang Hokchul's plan. Kang Hokchul tells Han Yana to stay put. Then he and Zhang Minjun come to the first floor open area. To avoid encountering other infected, they decide to climb the railing up to the rooftop. On the rooftop, Kang Hokchul carefully peeks out his head. There are indeed only 3 infected on the terrace, but they're too close together, making it difficult to quietly take down any of them. At this moment, Kang Hokchul proposes taking down these infected within 10 seconds. He'll handle the nearest infected, and when the other 2 rush over, Zhang Minjun will handle one of them. Seeing Zhang Minjun still hesitant, Kang Hokchul reminds him again what they need to consider first right now is staying alive. For this, they must use any means necessary. Hearing this, Zhang Minjun finally makes up his mind. After this, Kang Hokchul climbs onto a bookshelf and jumps down forcefully. The commotion immediately attracts the infected's attention. He pulls out his knife wanting to take down the one in front, but that infected trips itself, causing his attack to miss. His heart sinks. We're done for. He hurriedly swings the knife forward in a slash, only to find the cut is too shallow. He quickly shouts, "Zhang Minjun!" Zhang Minjun immediately grabs the mace and appears behind one infected, smashing hard at its head. That infected falls to the ground. Just as he thinks he's taken care of it, it suddenly springs up again and lunges at him, giving him quite a fright. Kang Hokchul nearby sees this and thinks he can't kill infected this way, and at this moment another infected has already rushed up to him. He fights desperately against the infected before him, realizing he must prioritize taking down this guy with the rifle. Thinking this, he stabs the opponent's neck. Though the opponent is killed, their body momentum knocks him down, causing his knife to fall to the ground. In the critical moment, he grabs that rifle, quickly chambers around, shoves the barrel into the other infected's mouth and pulls the trigger, taking it down. On this side, Zhang Minjun is still locked in struggle with the last infected. He anxiously calls out Kang Hokchul's name. Kang Hokchul nearby says quietly, "Zhang Minjun, being able to do this the first time, you're already very brave," then raises the gun at the infected and shoots it dead. The gunshot is extremely loud. Even Han Yana inside on the other side can hear it clearly. She quickly uses binoculars to observe across the way. Finding both are unharmed, she finally relaxes. On this side, Zhang Minjun feels guilty for not being able to help, but Kang Hokchul says he did his best and just needs to practice swinging the bat more in the future. Zhang Minjun curiously asks if he's used a gun before, and Kang Hokchul answers he fired 2 or 3 times when he was 12. He then starts counting the remaining bullets. At this moment, Zhang Minjun notices roaring coming from downstairs. The gunshot must have attracted nearby infected. When she finds the 2 have disappeared from view, Han Yana prepares to go to the first floor to meet them, but hears strange noises from downstairs. She looks out the window and sees a large number of infected gathering toward Zhang Minjun and the others' direction. She starts worrying about their safety, hesitating whether she should continue waiting here. Suddenly, she notices an infected downstairs looking up. The moment their eyes meet, that infected actually smiles eerily. Han Yana is so frightened she immediately hides. Her heart in turmoil, it actually smiled at me? At this moment, rhythmic footsteps echo in the hallway. At an angle Han Yana can't see, that infected is slowly climbing the stairs. Hearing this terrifying noise, she thinks, that's impossible. When Kang Hokchul and the others left, they clearly closed the first floor entrance and blocked it with nearby items. She's puzzled. How did it get in? Would infected do this kind of thing? At this moment, that infected has already reached Han Yana's floor. She closes her eyes tightly, not daring to make a sound, but is still discovered. She sees it swaying as it walks toward her. Han Yana happens to open her eyes at this moment and sees the infected grinning at her, scaring her into screaming. Just then, someone delivers a fierce strike piercing through its head. It turns out Kang Hokchul and Zhang Minjun arrived just in time. The 3 then enter a restroom for a brief adjustment. After hearing Han Yana's description, Kang Hokchul also finds it hard to believe. Han Yana explains that making eye contact with that infected felt just like making eye contact with a real person. Kang Hokchul also says when they came back just now, they found the obstacles on the first floor all knocked over and the door damaged, just like an uninfected person deliberately broke in. But from what he knows, infected behavior patterns only consist of attack instincts. Zhang Minjun nearby speculates that a few infected might be special infected or are gradually mutating. Maybe they not only can climb ladders or jump, but in the future might even coordinate to formulate strategies to attack survivors, and their physical abilities might evolve too. Kang Hokchul asks how he knows this. He then explains to them about the zombie game he used to play, but those 2 don't take it seriously after hearing and just think he's talking nonsense. Then they start taking inventory of the weapons they found: 1 K2 rifle with 15 bullets, 2 military knives. Kang Hokchul distributes the 2 knives to Zhang Minjun and Han Yana. Seeing Han Yana somewhat hesitant, he reminds her to learn self-defense as soon as possible. She can't always wait for others to save her. Not only that, but he also needs to teach them both how to use the rifle. If I die, Zhang Minjun, you'll have to know how to use this rifle, Han Yana. There might also be situations where you need to shoot. As soon as he finishes speaking, the atmosphere becomes somewhat stagnant. Then the 2 tell him not to say such unlucky things, also saying people who usually say such things die first. But Kang Hokchul firmly states that everyone will survive. Zhang Minjun sits down beside Han Yana, saying he's willing to learn to shoot. He turns to ask her, "What about you?" But Han Yana suddenly turns her head away from him, while also scooting away. She says sullenly, "I don't know." She pauses, and don't come near me. Jung Minjun finds it strange. What's wrong with you? Han Yena answers, I just don't want to be near you right now. Hearing him and Kang Hakchul speaking in low voices, Han Yena thinks helplessly, that loser really can't read the room. She lowers her head to sniff herself. Her heart uneasy. These past few days I haven't been able to shower. Could I have a weird smell? On second thought, staying alive is most important right now, yet I'm still worrying about this. I'm such an idiot too. The reason she cares so much and doesn't want to be near Jung Minjun is because she's afraid he'll smell any odor on her. She's also gradually discovering she's starting to care more and more about his opinions. Thinking this, she quietly lowers her head, her face slightly flushing. After resting briefly, the three continue on. Kang Hakchul asks Han Yena if they can take this road. She says they can. At this moment, Jung Minjun notices something wrong with Kang Hakchul's leg. Kang Hakchul says when he fell with the infected earlier he got injured, probably a ligament strain. Seeing the main fighter injured, Jung Minjun is very alarmed. But Kang Hakchul says this is nothing for him, then proposes they need to find a place to sleep. Suddenly Han Yena stops in front of an iron door. She smells infected. The next second, violent roaring of infected comes from behind the iron door. At this moment, someone shouts down at them from the rooftop, "Hey, you're survivors, right?" A middle-aged man helplessly pleads, "I've been trapped on the roof for 2 days, please help me." Kang Hakchul asks how he got trapped. The man says he came out looking for daily necessities and ended up being chased by infected to the rooftop. He says the iron door downstairs was also closed because when he called out to other survivors before, when they heard they were infected inside, they pulled the door shut. Kang Hakchul asks how many infected are in the building. The man answers about 6 or 7. Thinking of such a large number, Kang Hakchul ponders for a moment, then refuses the man's request for help, saying he's unable to help. He ignores the man's pleas and turns to leave. Seeing him about to leave, the man can't help choking up and loudly pleading, "Please help me, my wife and son are still waiting for me to come home." Han Yena can't bear it and asks, "Is it okay for us to just leave like this?" Jung Minjun also asks, "Might there be another way?" Hearing this, Kang Hakchul helplessly lowers his head and sighs deeply, then compromises by asking, "What way?" After Jung Minjun explains, they arrive in front of a tunnel. Kang Hakchul confirms, "You mean after opening the iron door, lure the infected onto the road we just walked, after shaking them off, escape back here and take the chance to push that white car to block the tunnel, right?" Jung Minjun says he has relevant experience. When he was young, he and his late father once pushed a car parked in the middle of the road together, so he thinks they have the ability to move this car. But since Kang Hakchul sprained his ankle, he'll be responsible for luring away the infected, escaping outside the tunnel, then circling back. When he returns, Han Yena and Kang Hakchul will push the car to block the tunnel. After hearing this, Kang Hakchul asks if he runs fast, and Jung Minjun says his running ability is above average and he's not afraid of infected either. Looking at the tunnel before them that only allows one person through, Kang Hakchul thinks this method could work. But what he's most curious about is why Jung Minjun is willing to risk saving that man. Setting aside the survival rules they discussed earlier, risking their lives to save people doesn't benefit them at all. Han Yena is also persuaded and agrees with Kang Hakchul's view. But Jung Minjun thinks of those men at the abandoned construction site. Their faces and expressions are very similar to this man asking for help now. He says quietly, "I just feel that person isn't a bad guy. He reminds me of those men who died at the construction site and also reminds me of my dad." His words seem to touch Kang Hakchul, who no longer argues. Then they discuss the specific operation. They try once first, successfully moving the car. After pushing the car forward a distance, the operation officially begins. At this moment, Kang Hakchul suddenly says, "Aside from my sister, I really don't want to risk my life for others. This is the last time." His tone serious, "Don't take this kind of risk again." Jung Minjun nods in agreement. Then he enters that building, deliberately shouting loudly, then quickly rushes out, with a group of crazed infected behind him. He goes through the tunnel as planned. After confirming all infected have been lured into the tunnel, Kang Hakchul and Han Yena immediately act, hiding behind the car, observing Jung Minjun's movements at the other end of the tunnel. At this moment, Han Yena is nervous to the extreme, silently praying in her heart, "Please, don't let anything happen." Fortunately, before long, Jung Minjun's figure finally appears. He runs while shouting, "Now, push!" They quickly push the car into the tunnel, blocking the exit. Those infected are completely trapped inside. Jung Minjun stops to catch his breath and sees the rescued man kneeling on the ground thanking them. Seeing he's about to kowtow, Jung Minjun quickly stops him. After this, they transfer to a safe location. Through conversation, Jung Minjun and the others learn the man came out looking for a gas canister. It turns out the man's house not only has running water but also has solar panels for electricity, only lacking gas. After Kang Hakchul checks around, he finds the supplies here are indeed sufficient. The man then says that to search for his daughter's whereabouts, he comes to the area once every day. He asks where Jung Minjun and the others plan to go. Han Yena nearby explains they plan to leave Gangpo and head south. She then asks about the man's daughter's disappearance, and the man says after receiving a message that his daughter was on her way home, he lost contact with her. So he had his wife and son stay home while he went out to find his daughter, but his car got stuck halfway and he struggled to escape back home. After hearing the man's account, Han Yena is very moved and hopes he can find his daughter soon. At this moment, the man suddenly asks, "How do you have a gun?" Kang Hakchul pauses and lies, "Found it on the road." The man asks again, "The sun's about to set. Where are you planning to stay?" They say they'll just find a place to rest. Hearing this, the man immediately immediately invites them to stay at his house, saying it's a detached residence with water and electricity and enough food. Unexpectedly this time Kang Hak-chul agrees quickly, surprising the other two. But since their leader agreed, they naturally have no objections. The man then brings them to his house. Looking at the spacious detached residence before him, Jong Min-jun can't help exclaiming. He notices the solar panels and the wire mesh on the outer walls, thinking, if the water hasn't been cut off, this really is the safest house. At this moment, with a click, Kang Hak-chul chambers around. Seeing the man somewhat frightened, he explains, because we've encountered too many crazy people recently, we have to be cautious entering unfamiliar places. Please understand, sir. Looking at my friend, you should also understand we're not robbers. Please don't worry. The man is still nervous. I understand. At the same time, the surviving Park Song-bin has stumbled into the office where Jong Min-jun and the others once stayed. He's holding a knife, his body covered in spattered bloodstains. Along the way, he not only has to deal with infected but also guard against those crazy humans, which irritates him greatly. He just sits down to rest and notices the content not erased from the whiteboard. Looking at several familiar names on it, he quietly sneers, these bastards, so they were hiding here before, and even ran into Kang Hak-chul. Then he discovers Jangan Station has been marked, suddenly realizing Jangan Station, so they want to take Line 5 across the Fortress River. On the other side, hearing the man anxiously calling for his wife and child, Kang Hak-chul stops Jong Min-jun, who's about to step forward. Wait, he walks at the front. I'll go in first. Looking at the man's back, he thinks, if this man is lying to us, then we'll have no choice but to immediately seize this house. But when Kang Hak-chul sees the scene inside clearly, he's stunned. A family of 3 is hugging each other and crying. Kang Hak-chul also relaxes his guard and lowers his gun. After this, the hostess named Moon Ji-yeon warmly welcomes them, saying she'll cook first and everyone can take showers. Hearing they can shower, Han Yena's eyes immediately light up. At this moment, Moon Ji-yeon holds her hand, praising her beauty repeatedly, saying she's just like a big star. Hearing all this praise makes Han Yena very shy. Then Moon Ji-yeon pauses and puts away her smile, saying dejectedly, my daughter is about your age too. Just started college this year, but unexpectedly went missing a few days ago. Han Yena immediately comforts her, your daughter must still be alive. Quietly listening to their conversation, Jong Min-jun inadvertently glances over and discovers the man's son is secretly watching them. Finding his peeking discovered, the boy immediately runs away. Jong Min-jun silently thinks, their son looks like he should already be in elementary school. At this moment, he walks toward Kang Hak-chul sitting on the sofa. How's your foot? Seeing Kang Hak-chul's obviously swollen ankle, he exclaims, my god, it's this serious. Kang Hak-chul says lightly, if possible, it's best to rest here for several days before leaving. He says just to be safe, they need to carefully check this house. Jong Min-jun can't help admiring his meticulousness and vigilance. At 7:30 p.m., everyone starts having dinner. This is also the first proper meal Jong Min-jun and the others have had in so long. At this moment, the man, Seo Jae-hoon, asks Kang Hak-chul how they plan to get to Gangnam. Kang Hak-chul tells him the planned route. After hearing, Seo Jae-hoon quickly says his daughter went missing at Gwangnaru Station on Line 5. Kang Hak-chul thinks to himself, Gwangnaru Station is the closest Line 5 station to the Fortress River, about 6 or 7 stations from Jangan Station, and also the last station before crossing the Fortress River. He tells Seo Jae-hoon this information. Seo Jae-hoon also agrees. He originally drove to find his daughter, but got blocked on the way to Gwangnaru Station, so he abandoned the car and walked to Janghan Station, only to find it had already been taken over by infected. Kang Hak-chul asks if it's difficult to drive other routes. Seo Jae-hoon says most roads are blocked by abandoned vehicles or obstacles. Driving rashly would be very dangerous. These words also make Kang Hak-chul give up his original plan to drive. Night deepens. Moon Ji-yeon brings them to her daughter's room, saying they can rest in her daughter's and son's rooms, but Jong Min-jun says he and Kang Hak-chul can sleep in the living room. So Moon Ji-yeon arranges for Han Yena to sleep in the room. However, Han Yena looks back at Jong Min-jun, then says she also wants to sleep in the living room. Jong Min-jun urges her to sleep in the bed. After all, she hasn't slept well these past few days, but Han Yena says again it's fine. What's wrong? Wouldn't sleeping alone be more comfortable? You just said you didn't want to be near me, so why now? He seems to suddenly remember something. You said you're afraid to sleep alone. Before he finishes, Han Yena punches him. She storms out, leaving a bewildered Jong Min-jun behind. Before bed, Jong Min-jun asks Kang Hak-chul how the inspection went, and Kang Hak-chul says there's nothing abnormal, they can rest easy. Tossing and turning for a long time, Han Yena still can't fall asleep. She asks softly, are you asleep? Kang Hak-chul is already asleep. Only Jong Min-jun responds to her. Han Yena sits up. Since that's the case, keep me company and chat. She asks, what do you think about when you can't sleep? I think about my mom. Jong Min-jun answers. Wonder if she's safe. She must be very worried about me too. Seeing this family makes me miss her even more. After hearing this, Han Yena solemnly promises, I'll definitely help you find your mom. Jong Min-jun also sits up, asking, aren't your parents' whereabouts still unknown even now? His eyes full of concern. Are you really okay? Han Yena falls into brief silence, then speaks, okay, I should be able to tell you. I've never told anyone about my parents. Actually, I'm from a remarried family. The whole family fell apart long ago. Han Yena tells him her father is a doctor at a well-known general hospital, and her mother is a medical researcher. They divorced when she was young, her mother went abroad, and since then she's lived with her father and stepmother. She tells Jong Min-jun that after separating from him that day, she returned home as usual. Just entering the door, she saw clothes scattered all over the floor. Hearing the unbearable moaning from the room, she thinks, fuck, this is crazy. The reason her stepmother dares to cheat so brazenly is because she has dirt on her father, plus her father works too much and is rarely home. Then she goes to her room to change clothes as if seeing nothing. But her stepmother Choi Soo-jin angrily barges in, demanding why she came home so early. Han Yena says she's going out again right away, then sarcastically says her stepmother is nervous because she's afraid afraid of being heard having an affair. The two immediately start arguing. At this moment, Choi Soo-jin's lover also walks in disheveled. Han Yena takes the opportunity to take a photo with her phone, threatening Choi Soo-jin she'll send the photo to her father. But Choi Soo-jin casually lights a cigarette, telling her to send it if she wants, saying even if Han Yena sends it to her father, that man won't dare say a word. She arrogantly blows smoke at Han Yena, saying Han Yena's father has dirt in her hands. She shouts at Han Yena to tell her father to divorce. She herself has nothing to lose in life anyway, but if her father dares divorce, she'll expose his secret and ruin him completely. Han Yena doesn't want to deal with this crazy woman anymore and pushes past Choi Soo-jin out of the room, hearing Choi Soo-jin and her lover trading insults at her behind. Han Yena can't stand it and goes straight out the door. Walking on the road, she vows in her heart never to return to that disgusting, filthy home. She can't help hoping, if only the world would end tomorrow. After that came the outbreak of chaos. Hiding in the conference room, after failing to call 119, she starts contacting her father, but her father doesn't answer her calls. Her mother, far away in country K, definitely can't help, so she can only contact the person she least wants to find, Choi Soo-jin. But when she asks her stepmother to come pick her up, the other tells her to figure it out herself, then hangs up the phone. The mechanical busy tone on the phone reminds her of the scene of arguing with her mother the day her parents divorced. Back then, she locked her mother who wanted to talk to her outside the door, feeling utterly helpless. Her feelings right now are the same as then. She can't help shedding tears, curled up behind the door choking out, "Mom, I miss you so much. In the end, my stepmother abandoned me, escaped on her own, and I never managed to contact my dad." Han Yena narrates quietly. "So I don't want to look for them, and I don't care where they are. Right now, I just really miss my mom." Hearing this, Jong Minjun suddenly understands. So the reason she always said she wanted to study abroad in country K was because of this. Han Yena says when her mother left, she said many hurtful things that must have pained her mother greatly. So whether before the disaster or now, she doesn't dare contact her mother. So right now, I'm all alone. Jong Minjun says seriously, "Don't say that. You still have me and Hakshul." His gaze firm, "So we must survive together." On the other side, the long-asleep Kang Hakchul has a dream. In the dream, he returns to that day in country N witnessing his parents' execution. At that time, he was beaten until covered in wounds. That man's mockery ringing in his ears, "You and your siblings, you little bastards, just scrape by on this land. That's your fate." The dream abruptly cuts off. Kang Hakchul's eyes snap open. Then he hears the roar of a car engine outside the window. This noise also wakes Seo Jae-hoon, who tells Kang Hakchul a car has stopped at the front door, and Kang Hakchul says he'll go check. He walks outside, just in time to hear the car door opening and closing. At this moment, he notices a ladder placed by the wall, so he uses it to climb to the highest point. When he sees the scene outside the gate clearly, his heart jolts. Two survivors are standing outside the gate. One of them is actually holding a handgun. He immediately raises his gun at the two. "Don't move! Drop your weapons! Hands up!" His appearance startles those two. The boy in the camouflage jacket complies and puts down the handgun. Kang Hakchul continues asking, "Are you raiders?" The two claim they're not suspicious people. Kang Hakchul obviously doesn't believe them, carrying weapons and trespassing in a private residence, still making excuses, but the other explains they thought this was an empty house. Kang Hakchul asks where they got the handgun, and the camouflage boy says he took it from an ordinary civilian's corpse. Kang Hakchul is even more suspicious. How would an ordinary civilian have a handgun? The camouflage boy asks back, doesn't Kang Hakchul also have a rifle? To this, Kang Hakchul responds, "This rifle is very common in the military. Your handgun doesn't look like a model used by military or police at all." At this moment, the man in the jacket quickly explains he's just an office worker, and the camouflage boy is a reserve university student who just finished military service. They originally came out on patrol from the shelter at Gunja Station but got trapped on the way and couldn't get back, so they came here. Hearing this, Kang Hakchul is shocked. Gunja Station on line 5? While thinking, that's 2 stations before Gwangnaru Station. Right, there's a large shelter there. The jacket man answers. From subsequent questioning, Kang Hakchul learns the subway stations before and after Gunja Station are all occupied by infected, but the jacket man says other information is inconvenient to disclose. Kang Hakchul insists he needs more intelligence. "If you can provide useful information, I can agree to your conditions. Have you heard of a girl named Seo Hakyoung?" The two say talking outside will attract infected and request to go inside to talk. Kang Hakchul agrees but demands they not bring weapons inside, so the two enter the gate. After explaining the situation to Seo Jae-hoon, the jacket man asks him, "Your daughter took line 5 home and lost contact near Gwangnaru Station, right? And the phone lost connection at 8:10 that night." Seo Jae-hoon quickly answers, "Yes, that's right." He says when he talked to his daughter she was almost at Gwangnaru Station, but he's not sure if she got off at that station. The jacket man says he was also on the subway from Gwangnaru Station to Gunja Station at that time. An infected appeared in one car, causing the subway to pass stations without stopping like an express train, passing Gwangnaru and Dakisan stations before stopping at Gunja Station. The time was approximately 8:10 to 8:15. Seo Hakyoung very likely was on the same train. Kang Hakchul nearby adds, "If what he says is true, then sir, there's a high possibility your daughter is at Gunja Station." Seo Jae-hoon finds his daughter's photo on his phone and shows it to the jacket man, but the other hasn't seen her, because just the survivors from that subway trip exceeded 200 people, not to mention the entire shelter. He can't even confirm whether Seo Hakyoung has already become infected. After speaking, the jacket man asks Seo Jae-hoon Jae-hoon if he wants to travel with them, because the shelter now prohibits outsiders from entering, and breaking in alone might get him shot by guards. But Kang Hak-chul says traveling together is difficult, so the jacket man suggests setting up a relay station on the way to Gunja Station. If Kang Hak-chul and the others drive there, he can tell them the passage route. He and his companion will hide nearby and set out tomorrow. He hands Kang Hak-chul a walkie-talkie, saying they'll hide within a 500 to 1,000 meter range and contact via walkie-talkie before reaching the relay station. Then he requests Kang Hak-chul provide 2 days worth of food. "We've gone this far, you should be able to trust us, right?" the jacket man asks. This time, Kang Hak-chul doesn't question further and gives them the food. Back inside, Kang Hak-chul tells Han Yena and Jong Minjun his plan. Han Yena worries those two survivors might be lying, but Kang Hak-chul thinks they have no need to fabricate such lies, and they don't seem like bad people. After explaining, he asks Seo Jae-hoon about his plans. "If we're going on foot, we probably can't travel together with your family. However, if we can find a 6-seater vehicle, we should be able to move together to the relay station." But he emphasizes that if they encounter dangerous situations along the way, he'll prioritize self-preservation, and Seo Jae-hoon needs to figure out how to protect his family himself. Please think it over carefully. These words leave Seo Jae-hoon's family in silence, as they can't make an immediate decision right now. Then Han Yena starts organizing the food they need to bring. Midway, she suddenly realizes she hasn't seen Jong Minjun, so she goes upstairs to find him, and sees Jong Minjun chatting with Seo Jae-hoon's son Seo Hajun about games they both like. Learning that Jong Minjun also likes that famous zombie game, Seo Hajun reveals his dream is to become a developer of such games. Listening to them discuss enthusiastically, Han Yena can't help interrupting. "When did you two become so close?" Then she glances at the wall, and discovers Seo Hajun is a fan of the popular girl group Lumina. At this moment, Seo Hajun is called away by his parents, while Jong Minjun stares at Jian on the poster, lost in thought. Seeing this, Han Yena asks, "Is she your type?" Jong Minjun's answer surprises her. "She's someone I knew when I was young." As soon as he says this, Han Yena bursts out laughing, mocking him for being delusional. Jong Minjun explains seriously, "Really, she's 1 year younger than me. After I started middle school, she moved away, and we haven't been in contact since." He slowly stands after learning she became an idol. "I've been silently cheering her on, though her world has become very distant from me." Seeing Han Yena still looking disbelieving, he says helplessly, "Forget it if you don't believe me. I told my friends too, and they all said my delusions are too severe." Then he leaves the room. Although Han Yena mocks him verbally, somehow she actually starts to believe Jong Minjun's words. Later, Seo Jae-hoon finds Kang Hak-chul, saying his family has decided to go to the Gunja Station shelter together. He also explains he's already thought about what vehicle to take. 1 kilometer from the residence there's an ambulance. Although there are infected in the car, they just need to clear them out. However, from his observations there are 2 infected in the driver and passenger seats. Though he can't see inside the cabin, he heard movement, so he estimates there may be 3 or more infected in the vehicle. He adds that he discovered that vehicle 3 days ago, and estimates it's still in the same place. Kang Hak-chul agrees with Seo Jae-hoon's suggestion and decides to go with him tomorrow to handle the infected in the vehicle, after inventorying everyone's luggage and backpacks. While Kang Hak-chul is still thinking about what supplies they're missing, Jong Minjun suggests trying to make Molotov cocktails. Kang Hak-chul thinks this method is feasible and agrees. At night, the jacket man asks Kang Hak-chul via walkie-talkie if he found a vehicle. Kang Hak-chul tells him his plan, so the jacket man says they'll wait at a nearby crossroads, and once Kang Hak-chul and the others confirm the situation tomorrow, they'll set out together. At this time, the sleeping Han Yena has a dream. In the dream, she wakes up in an empty classroom, looking at the time on the wall, with no time to wonder why no one woke her. She hurries outside, only to run straight into Jong Minjun. She asks why he's here. He doesn't answer, just stares straight at her, then suddenly grabs her hand, and roughly pins her against the wall. This sudden action makes her nervous. She sternly orders him to let go, but he curses under his breath, demanding, "You wicked woman, have you enjoyed looking down on me all this time, ignoring me at school, treating me like an insect, so why are you talking to me now? Do you want me to be rough with you too?" This statement immediately makes her blush. Then the two seem to be arguing, but actually the atmosphere becomes somewhat ambiguous, and in reality, Han Yena is also murmuring in her sleep. Then she slowly wakes up, only to find that at some point she's actually sleeping while holding Jong Minjun. The intimate distance between them makes her heart pound wildly. At the same time, she also feels somewhat strange. Before, she always felt he had an unpleasant smell that made her not want to get close. Now she only smells a reassuring scent. Then she can't help carefully studying his sleeping face, suddenly thinking he looks quite handsome. As soon as this thought emerges, Han Yena wonders if something's wrong with her brain. Just then, Jong Minjun suddenly opens his eyes, giving her quite a fright. Out of instinct, she screams, "You jerk," while punching him. Even the sleeping Kang Hak-chul is awakened. He thinks infected have broken in and grabs his gun without even fully opening his eyes. Jong Minjun asks Han Yena in panic what's wrong, but she suddenly starts trembling, saying with a sob, "You're so annoying. You cursed at me and tried to hit me. So annoying." After saying this, she kicks Jong Minjun in the chin, then wraps herself tightly in the blanket and turns to sleep, leaving a completely bewildered Jong Minjun. "I cursed at Han Yena?" The next day, fog pervades and dark clouds block the sun, not a ray of sunlight visible. Before departure, Kang Hak-chul repeats the plan again. He and Seo Jae-hoon will drive the ambulance back home, then Han Yena and Jong Minjun will be responsible for opening the garage door, then load luggage and depart. He instructs Jong Minjun to go upstairs to monitor the surroundings, and before they return, he must have a good grasp of the situation nearby. After speaking, the two set out. During the time Kang Hak-chul and Seo Jae-hoon are out, Jong Minjun keeps observing with binoculars, but never sees the two's figures. But unexpectedly at this moment, gunshots suddenly come from not far away. Han Yena asks if these gunshots are from Kang Hak-chul, but Jong Min-jun thinks not, because that sound is different from rifle shots. He guesses it's those two survivors from yesterday who fired. Suddenly, Yena smells an extremely strong stench, so strong it almost makes her vomit. She says in panic that something is approaching. The next second, a not-so-unfamiliar voice rings out, "Open the door!" Jong Min-jun picks up binoculars to look. The jacket man from yesterday is desperately running this way. He's covered in blood, tightly gripping a gun. He rushes outside and pounds on the gate, shouting at Jong Min-jun to open the door. Jong Min-jun asks where his companion is, and the other answers his companion is dead, questioning why Kang Hak-chul didn't respond to the radio. A monster appeared. He says with a trembling voice, his eyes full of despair, even shooting can't kill it. Jong Min-jun also sees the monster he mentioned. The monster's body is abnormally large, covered in jiggling fat. Its mouth keeps mumbling Yena. It's actually Lee Bong-yu. At this moment, Jong Min-jun just feels terrified. Everything coincides with the plot of the zombie game he played. The kind of fat zombie in the game that's hard to defeat has actually appeared in reality. In this instant, the unease that's been lingering in his heart is finally confirmed at this moment. A few minutes ago, looking at the infected in the vehicle, Kang Hak-chul asks if Seo Jae-hoon can reverse and escape after starting the vehicle, and Seo Jae-hoon says no problem. At this moment, gunshots from not far away attract their attention. Then the jacket man's call comes through the walkie-talkie. "Hak-chul, did you find the car? Come quick! There's a problem here." Kang Hak-chul immediately realizes it's those two who fired and quickly urges Seo Jae-hoon to deal with the infected in the car. After the two agree on tactics, they immediately take action. On this side, Jong Min-jun quickly opens the door for the jacket man. Just as the jacket man is about to rush in, an infected suddenly appears from behind and pounces him to the ground. This sudden situation leaves Jong Min-jun at a loss, while Han Yena nearby urgently tells him to get inside quickly. At this moment, she sees the monster-like terrifying Lee Bong-yu behind the numerous infected, and is immediately so frightened she collapses to the ground. Seeing he can't save the jacket man, Jong Min-jun has no choice but to quickly close the door. He murmurs, "Got to escape. Just the rifle won't be enough to handle Lee Bong-yu. We have to wait for Kang Hak-chul to return." As soon as he finishes speaking, violent pounding sounds on the door. Immediately after, the originally solid and sturdy iron door is actually smashed with a deep dent. Moon Ji-young comes out hearing the noise to ask what's happening, and Jong Min-jun quickly tells her to take Seo Ha-jun to hide on the second floor. His mind rapidly thinks of countermeasures. Finally thinking of fire. That's right, Molotov cocktails. He quickly tells Han Yena beside him, "Lee Bong-yu will definitely break through the door. He might even smash through the entrance door to get in looking for you. I'll throw Molotov cocktails at the main door to buy time. There's still gasoline left from making Molotov cocktails yesterday, right? Once he breaks in, pour gasoline on him. I'll continue attacking with Molotov cocktails. This will attract a large number of infected, so after you pour the gasoline, go upstairs and use Molotov cocktails to block them. Understand?" Seeing Han Yena still in shock, he raises his voice and shouts, "I'm asking if you can do it." Only then does Han Yena snap back and nod in agreement. Then Jong Min-jun rushes into the house to grab Molotov cocktails. Walking outside, he thinks, Lee Bong-yu's commotion will attract more infected. The moment the door is smashed, all infected will pour in. But according to my speculation, even infected with extremely strong attack instincts should fear flames. They might be afraid of fire. At least this can prevent infected from swarming in all at once. Sure enough, Lee Bong-yu destroys the iron door with one punch. He steps through the flames but remains unharmed. Looking at the giant before him, Jong Min-jun thinks, if we don't take him down, everyone will die. At this moment, Han Yena's shout attracts Lee Bong-yu's attention. "You pervert! Are you looking for me?" She pours a large bucket of gasoline from the second floor, drenching Lee Bong-yu thoroughly. Jong Min-jun takes the opportunity to throw a Molotov cocktail at him. Flames instantly consume Lee Bong-yu's body. Jong Min-jun tells Han Yena and Moon Ji-yeon on the second floor to continue attacking the invading infected with Molotov cocktails. But there are too many infected gathering, they really can't hold them off. Jong Min-jun thinks, if only we had Hak-chul's rifle. Seeing the two on the second floor have used up all the Molotov cocktails, he picks up the last Molotov cocktail wanting to throw it, but is pinned to the ground by an infected that suddenly pounces. Han Yena immediately wants to go downstairs to save him, but Jong Min-jun shouts to stop her, not letting her come down. Seeing himself surrounded by infected, he thinks silently, is this as far as I can go? Just as he thinks he's certainly doomed, someone shoots the infected in front of him in the head. Then comes Kang Hak-chul's voice, "Get up. While the infected haven't closed in, stand up quickly." At this moment, Lee Bong-yu, wrapped in flames, is still trying to struggle to his feet. Time is pressing. Everyone starts quickly and orderly loading luggage onto the vehicle. Kang Hak-chul is responsible for shooting down the continuously surging infected. After taking down the nearest infected, only one bullet remains in his magazine. He quickly gets in the vehicle. The vehicle immediately departs. After this thrilling, fierce battle, the vehicle is left with only post-disaster silence. Jong Min-jun recalls what just happened. This is the first time he's witnessed someone lose their life at such close range. Thinking of this, he feels the wound on his abdomen starting to ache faintly. In the front driver's seat, the two are discussing the travel route. According to the route provided by the jacket man, turning left from Life Tavern and continuing straight will reach the destination. Seo Jae-hoon sees there's still some time before dark and suggests going to Gunja Station to look first, but Kang Hak-chul says the weather is gloomy with low visibility and suggests going to the meeting point first, waiting for clear weather. At this moment, they happen to drive to Sky Hotel. The hotel interior is dark and gloomy, looking somewhat terrifying. After confirming, Kang Hak-chul says rooms 202 202, 203, and 206 on the second floor are relatively safe, telling everyone to rest in these rooms separately. He instructs everyone that rooms with X-shaped marks are very dangerous and absolutely cannot be entered. Also, there are infected in the fourth floor hallway. Absolutely cannot go up. After discussion, the team of 3 still moves into the same room. Upon entering, Jong Min-jun silently walks into the bathroom without a word. He feels his wound is hurting more and more. When he lifts the gauze on the wound, he's instantly stunned. Signs of mutation have actually appeared around the wound, just like being infected. He can't help recalling where exactly he got infected. He suspects he was bitten by the infected that just pounced on him. But after checking, there's no wound on his wrist. He also guesses he was infected through the wound after being stabbed at the construction site. And after falling from the building, he did lose consciousness. But if he was infected then, he should have mutated long ago. He also remembers when Kang Hak-chul shot the infected just now. Blood splattered into his eyes. He can't help wondering if bodily fluids can transmit through eyes or mouth. Perhaps Kang Hak-chul's previous judgment was wrong, or maybe this is just wound inflammation? But a sudden dizziness reminds him the reality may not be so. His intuition tells him he's really been infected. Seeing Jong Min-jun has been in the bathroom for over half an hour, Han Yena can't help worrying, unable to resist urging him to come out quickly. As soon as she finishes speaking, Jong Min-jun silently walks out, then says he wants to sleep in a room alone tonight. Han Yena asks why, and he says he's just in a bad mood and wants to be alone. But Han Yena feels awkward being alone in a room with Kang Hak-chul as a man and woman, so she tries to persuade Jong Min-jun to stay in a light tone. But Jong Min-jun is unusually serious. "I'm not in the mood to joke, please," then leaves directly. Kang Hak-chul also says he's going to share a room with Seo Jae-hoon and Seo Ha-jun, and walks out too, leaving only the dejected Han Yena. Jong Min-jun returns to his room alone in gloom. Before this, he thought he could be like the protagonists in movies. No matter how difficult, they would ultimately have a good ending. However, reality is not like that. The protagonist's life is so distant for him. He's ultimately just an ordinary passerby who quietly disappears after being infected. What exactly is he hoping for? Facing this utterly terrible life, the ending was perhaps destined long ago. The next day, just as dawn breaks, Han Yena comes to knock on the door, asking if Jong Min-jun is awake. Seeing no response after knocking for a long time, Kang Hak-chul says let him open the door. However, he discovers the door is locked from inside, so he says, though I hope my guess is wrong, but Jong Min-jun might be infected. Hearing this, Han Yena's heart jolts. She immediately refutes that Jong Min-jun wasn't bitten, but Kang Hak-chul points out she didn't witness the whole thing with her own eyes. If he were fine, he should open the door. Even if he hasn't become infected, he might already be dead. Han Yena refuses to believe it and starts pounding on the door forcefully. The unresponsive silence seems to have already explained everything. Her tears instantly pour out as she shouts loudly, "I'm telling you to open the door, you lunatic!" Just as she finishes speaking, the door slowly opens. But when the two see Jong Min-jun walking out clearly, they're stunned in place. Jong Min-jun is covered in mutated red blood vessels, saying in a low voice, "Friends, my body seems a bit strange." Time rewinds to 18 years ago somewhere in Country K. A pair of twin brothers come to a residence surrounded by iron doors and wire mesh. They came here because one of the boys heard that a man who believes the world is about to end lives here. Seeing he can't persuade his brother to leave no matter what, the other boy has no choice but to leave alone helplessly. At this moment, the man's voice comes from behind the iron door. "Who's there? Soon there will be zombies everywhere outside. It's dangerous for you to stay there." The boy asks, puzzled, "What's that?" Instead of answering directly, the man asks where the boy is from, and the boy says he's from Country B. The man thinks he's the son of the nearby couple, but the boy explains he's just their nephew. The man asks where his parents are. The boy answers both parents have passed away. So the man asks if he's looking for a hiding place, and the boy thinks the other is playing a scenario game. So he cooperatively says he's being chased by zombies. As soon as he finishes speaking, the man opens the iron door, walks out with a gun, urging, "Get in here quick." The boy follows the man inside and asks what zombies are. "Do you know where humans who commit crimes go after death? Hell," the man says. "But if too many people commit crimes over thousands of years and hell becomes full, God will judge. When hell can no longer hold sinners, those who cannot enter hell will return to this world. God's punishment is coming. The apocalypse is approaching. If you don't prepare in advance like me, it will be hard to survive then." He turns his head. "Let me show you something amazing." Then he brings the boy to the warehouse. The walls are hung with various guns. The boy is stunned by the ample supplies in the warehouse. The man still looks serious, saying quietly, "The apocalypse will definitely come." Time returns to the present. Han Yena urges Kang Hak-chul not to keep pointing the gun at Jong Min-jun. Kang Hak-chul says this is just in case, as no one can guarantee Jong Min-jun won't suddenly attack them. Seo Jae-hoon nearby also confirms Jong Min-jun is infected, his temperature actually reaching 42 degrees. Jong Min-jun on the bed says he can't figure out why he's infected, because he wasn't bitten. Kang Hak-chul speculates that perhaps the knife that stabbed him had infected blood or bodily fluids on it, or the wound was exposed and became infected afterward. In other words, Jong Min-jun was already infected before Kang Hak-chul treated him. A guess vaguely surfaces in Kang Hak-chul's mind. If Jong Min-jun still hasn't mutated by tomorrow, he might be immune. Hearing this, a strange feeling surges in Jong Min-jun's heart. Another night passes. Jong Min-jun's body hasn't shown obvious deterioration. Han Yena stays by his side the whole time, until he wakes up, seeing Han Yena calmly accompanying him. Jong Min-jun tentatively asks, "I might become infected, aren't you afraid?" Han Yena says she's not afraid at all. Jong Min-jun can't help sighing at her big change, also praising her Molotov cocktail throwing moves as cool. Han Yena proudly tells him not to treat her as a hothouse flower, also explaining defensively that she's keeping watch to observe his physical condition. Through many days together, Jong Min-jun has long understood she's a girl with a tough mouth but soft heart. Then he tells Kang Hak-chul and Han Yena about the connection between between the zombie game and reality. Kang Hakchul asks, "You're saying the game company personally created and spread the virus?" Jong Minjun says he can't be sure about this point yet. He says that game developer is quite famous, but he can't think of the name for the moment. Seo Hajun appears at the right time, adding, "Red Heart Company CEO Daniel Chen." Seeing Jong Minjun's surprised expression, he explains, "Because he's a developer I admire." He continues introducing he was born in Country B and holds Country K nationality, a genius developer. Over a decade ago during his student days, he achieved great success overseas with an indie game called Hollow Code. Especially after Rage Z released 5 years ago became a hit, he made a lot of money. After that, he also invested heavily in AI, medical and biological industries, and even acquired related companies. Seo Hajun adds, "I remember he also has a twin brother, but I forgot the specific name." After hearing this, Kang Hakchul falls into thought. A zombie game plus medical business, the conditions match too well not to arouse suspicion. On the other side somewhere, in Country K's interrogation room, Special Operations Department Commander Ewan Brooks introduces Daniel Chen, 29 years old, born in Country B to a relatively wealthy family before coming to Country K, but reportedly you and your twin brother Elio Chen were isolated when young. Your mother was a famous film actress who withdrew from entertainment after being involved in a tax evasion scandal under public pressure. Due to mounting debts, she chose to end her life. It was later proven to be intentional tax evasion by the tax agent and mistakes by the tax bureau. At the same time, your father also encountered real estate and construction fraud and took his own life after incurring huge debts. You brothers could only come to Country K to rely on your uncle, but money you earned from games during your student years was also transferred by your uncle. Since then, you founded Red Heart Company and invested in medical and biological fields, gradually becoming someone who could influence the future medical community. Before he finishes, the man across interrupts, "Please get to the point. I'm in a hurry to return to Country B." Ewan stops beating around the bush. "You released the virus into Country B, didn't you?" Daniel Chen. But Daniel seems very impatient. "How many times do I have to say it wasn't me? You should suspect that brother of mine, Elio Chen, went missing after going to Country B. Do you know why he went there?" Ewan asks. Daniel says he doesn't know, but Ewan points out that the person who acquired Elio's research institute was Daniel, and if Elio developed the virus, Daniel couldn't possibly not know. And after the zombie incident broke out in Country B, as biological antigen stock soared, Daniel's subsidiary's stock price also skyrocketed within a month, which is too coincidental. After hearing this, Daniel says, "He's always been like this. He believes all people of Country B should go to hell." You're saying Elio, who specifically researches ways to save people, said such things? Ewan expresses doubt. But Daniel says he's the one growing the company for humanity's future. He says if the virus really did leak from his company, only he can control the situation. Ewan says the antigen will be developed under Special Operations Department supervision. Daniel asks if he plans to bring infected to Country K, and Ewan answers they're already on the way. But Daniel warns they'll definitely regret it. Now the virus has spread, and before long Country K won't be spared either. To clean up this mess, they must let him go to Country B. Ewan turns to ask operations personnel Camilla Rosa, "Haven't tracked down Elio Chen's movements yet?" Camilla says not yet. At this moment, tactical lead Morris Blake points out that based on current evidence, Elio is indeed the prime suspect. But Camilla emphasizes that until they track down Elio's movements, they can't let Daniel leave, and they'll personally arrest Elio, seeing he can't persuade them. Daniel finally compromises, saying they can accompany him to Country B, and he'll act under surveillance. He's very certain his brother definitely won't hide from him and will surely appear. Time rewinds to 2 days ago, the day Kang Hakchul went out looking for the ambulance. Park Song-bin rides a bicycle on the road. Seeing he's almost at Jong'an Station but still hasn't seen Jong Minjun's group, he wonders if they changed their destination, but still decides to check Gunja Station and Akisan Station. While pondering, an infected appears before him. He raises his knife and drops it, cleanly taking down that infected. Just then he hears gunshots in the distance, immediately thinking having a gun would be cooler. But what are the authorities doing? Why still can't control the infected after all this time? He decides to go check out the source of the sound. He follows the gunshots all the way, but is stopped by a survivor he encounters along the way. The other warns him he can't go further, there are dense infected ahead. That person says he's severely injured and hopes Park Song-bin can help him. Then Park Song-bin enters the house. When he hears the other mention there's another group of survivors not far away, he's shocked. That person, the camouflage boy who once contacted Kang Hakchul, also tells him that he and Kang Hakchul's group agreed to meet at Sky Hotel. Now his right leg is injured and he can't reach the meeting point on his own. Park Song-bin pretends to be helpful, saying he'll do his best, and asks if those survivors are soldiers. The camouflage boy says one of them is a refugee, heard to be a student. This key information makes Park Song-bin vaguely guess. He immediately asks if there's a boy with glasses and a tall girl with long hair in the group. The camouflage boy says he's not sure if there's a girl, but can confirm there's a boy with glasses and a man around 50 in the group. Park Song-bin quickly asks if that refugee student is called Kang Hakchul. The camouflage boy says his companion was responsible for radio contact with that person, but also heard them seem to call that person Hakchul. Park Song-bin shouts excitedly, "Kang Hakchul, Jong Minjun, Hanyena, they're my friends, I've been looking for them." He asks the camouflage boy if those people are still at the detached residence, and the other says he heard gunshots and car engine sounds, so he's not sure if they safely left in the ambulance. The camouflage boy requests Park Song-bin help him find another vehicle, or help notify his companion of his message, but Park Song-bin is immersed in his own thoughts and completely ignores him, then sighs pleasantly, "I wasn't even hopeful, but thanks to you, I've really hit the jackpot." After speaking, he starts rummaging through the camouflage boy's backpack. "You're not going to survive anyway, so it's fine if I take your bag, right?" The camouflage boy asks in panic, "What do you mean?" But Park Song-bin looks at him darkly, showing his true colors. "Why would would I help someone with a broken leg? Being injured means you should die. Only now does the camouflage boy realize he's been played, and immediately curses Park Song-bin as a bastard. Park Seong-bin doesn't care at all, instead saying meaningfully, "You're afraid of waiting here alone to die, right?" He shows a terrifying smile, "Then let me send you off." Then he stabs the camouflage boy to death. After that, he prepares to leave but discovers the bicycle battery is dead, and he made a fatal mistake. He didn't ask for the specific location of Sky Hotel. Time returns to now. Jung Minjun tells everyone that the zombie game doesn't have the concept of immune person, so if Daniel Chen really brought the game into reality, his existence would be equivalent to a bug in the game. Han Yena speculates that somewhere must be developing an antigen, and maybe he can contribute to developing the antigen and become humanity's hope. However, Kang Hak-chul isn't fully convinced by the game reality connection theory. What he cares more about is the weapons those two survivors possessed. That handgun is called Desert Eagle, a firearm type that's strictly prohibited. Jung Minjun speculates the handgun might be from a live ammunition shooting range, but Kang Hak-chul is curious how those two brought a prohibited gun here. But right now, he's not eager to find the answer. The urgent matter is to get on the road as soon as possible. He needs to confirm the route to Gunja Station in advance, and Jung Minjun says he wants to go with him. This request is opposed by Han Yena, but Jung Minjun insists on going. So Han Yena says if they're going, they have to take her along. Listening to their conversation, Kang Hak-chul can't help teasing that Han Yena has now become Jung Minjun's tag-along. Her thoughts exposed, Han Yena's face immediately reddens, but she still stubbornly says she's just worried about Jung Minjun's body. After speaking, she angrily pushes Jung Minjun outside, telling him to hurry up, then turns and sits on the bed sulking. And this clueless guy Jung Minjun actually doesn't coax her and directly follows Kang Hak-chul out. At the same time, Park Song-bin, after much difficulty, actually really finds Sky Hotel. Thinking he'll soon see Han Yena, he feels his whole body's blood boiling. But at this moment, he suddenly thinks of the gun in Kang Hak-chul's hands. If Kang Hak-chul is currently at the hotel, the situation would be very unfavorable for him. As if heaven is helping him, Kang Hak-chul and Jung Minjun's conversation voices come from not far away. Hearing the noise, Park Song-bin quickly hides behind a pillar at the parking lot entrance, seeing the two figures. Park Song-bin thinks, damn, they really have guns. Are they going to scout the surroundings? That means Han Yena is defenseless in the hotel. Thinking this, he excitedly sneaks into the hotel. At this moment, Han Yena hasn't yet realized danger is approaching. Moon Ji-yeon asks why she keeps a straight face. Just feel my friends are annoying, Han Yena answers, especially Jung Minjun. His body isn't well, but he still wants to go out scouting. Moon Ji-yeon tells her not to worry. With Kang Hak-chul, they're nothing scary. But Han Yena says she's just inexplicably irritated for no reason. She can't help muttering quietly, what should I do if Jung Minjun dies? Hearing this, Moon Ji-yeon shows a knowing smile. One sentence reveals the truth. Looks like you like him. Han Yena is stunned. I like Jung Minjun. Then she denies it herself. No, this feeling isn't liking. It's just because the only person she can rely on now is Jung Minjun. That's why. She recalls Jung Minjun saying she's changed, and agrees with his statement. She understands that it's because after the world ushered in the apocalypse, everything became equal. Before the zombie incident, apart from family discord, she indeed lived an enviable life, with at most 3 to 4 phone calls from others each day. So for her, there was no man she couldn't handle, except that older brother during school. Thinking of this, she suddenly realizes, could it be because Jung Minjun has never shown any interest in me that I'm like this? Just as she's immersed in thought, knocking suddenly sounds at the door. Moon Ji-yeon asks who it is, but the other doesn't respond. Just as she's about to open the door, Han Yena stops her. Han Yena also calls out asking, then wants to look through the peephole to see who's outside, only to find no one outside the door. However, she doesn't know that at this moment outside the door, Park Song-bin is lying in wait. Park Song-bin clearly hears that it was Han Yena's voice just now, and there's another woman in the room. He notes this room 202, then wants to confirm if there are any male companions in other rooms. He walks to a room marked with an X thinking, does this mark mean do not enter? Feels like there are infected inside. At this moment, he notices room 206 nearby. Just then, the door opens. Seo Jae-hoon and Park Seong-bin come face to face. Who are you? Seo Jae-hoon asks in panic. Park Seong-bin's face darkens. I'm here to find that bitch Han Yena. Who else is here besides you? What? Who exactly are you? If you won't answer, then die. With that, Park Song-bin stabs at Seo Jae-hoon with his knife. The commotion attracts Seo Ha-jun's attention inside the room, seeing the two at the door in a standoff. Seo Ha-jun cries and lunges at Park Song-bin. Don't hurt my dad. The little boy is of course no match for an adult male and is immediately kicked aside by Park Song-bin. Han Yena and Moon Ji-yeon also hear the fighting sounds, hearing her husband and son's painful groans. Moon Ji-yeon anxiously wants to rush out to check, but is stopped by Han Yena. Han Yena quickly finds a self-defense dagger Kang Hak-chul left behind, then opens the door wanting to save Seo Jae-hoon and Seo Ha-jun, but is stopped by a shout, "Get inside, Han Yena!" She turns at the sound. Kang Hak-chul and Jung Minjun arrive just in time. Kang Hak-chul rushes into room 206 with his gun and sees Park Song-bin holding a knife threatening Seo Jae-hoon to reveal who else is in the hotel. He immediately shouts, "Don't move, bastard!" Aiming at Park Song-bin, who turns around, he says in a low voice, "Park Song-bin didn't expect the last bullet would be used on you. Farewell." As the death sentence is pronounced, he quickly pulls the trigger, only to find the rifle has malfunctioned. Park Song-bin seizes the opportunity to charge at Kang Hak-chul, attempting to attack. Kang Hak-chul decisively pulls out his personal dagger and engages in the final showdown. The reason he and Jung Minjun could return to the hotel in time is because halfway there, Jung Minjun felt symptoms appearing again. He not only felt dizzy but also inexplicably feverish. Out of concern for his health, Kang Hak-chul decided to return to the hotel first to regroup. At this moment, Kang Hak-chul's left hand blocks Park Song-bin's stabbing knife hand. His right hand stabs toward the opponent's vital points, but is blocked by Park Song-bin's elbow. In an instant, Blood splatters. The pained Park Song-bin fiercely kicks Kang Hak-chul's abdomen, temporarily creating distance between them. Looking at the man before him still maintaining a defensive stance, he frantically thinks about how to deal with the opponent's lethal attacks, but no matter which plan, none favor him. At this moment, Kang Hak-chul suddenly speaks, "How many people have you killed with that knife? Besides infected, you must have killed quite a few survivors. Being able to attack innocent people, your brain definitely isn't normal." He pauses, his tone suddenly turning cold. "Actually, I also feel quite good when stabbing people, especially stabbing criminals like you." Seeing this opponent is a tough one, Park Song-bin finally feels afraid, says he wants to make a deal with Kang Hak-chul. He promises that, as long as the other hands over Jong Min-jun and Han Yena, he'll obediently leave. Kang Hak-chul doesn't even think before refusing. To him, this kind of insane murderer has no credibility. Park Song-bin then proposes abandoning knives and using bare-handed combat instead. But before he finishes speaking, the opponent already strikes, and he instinctively raises his hand to block, only to have 2 fingers severed by the sharp blade. Unable to care about the piercing pain in his wound, he's scared to tears for the first time, choking as he begs Kang Hak-chul for mercy, promising to find a way to save Seo Jae-hoon. But Kang Hak-chul gives him no chance to breathe and directly pronounces, "Atone with death, I'll finish you now." Seeing the other gives him no way out, Park Song-bin goes all in. He throws away the knife, holds his backpack in front to protect his vital points, assumes a fighting stance, his tone firm, "Even missing a hand, I'll definitely take you down." With that, he charges at the opponent. Kang Hak-chul quickly thrusts his knife forward, but the blade is caught by Park Song-bin barehanded. He hooks Kang Hak-chul's ankle with his leg, trips him to the ground, then uses his elbow to lock Kang Hak-chul's neck tightly, trying to suffocate him to death. Just as Park Song-bin feels triumphant, from the corner of his eye he glimpses Jong Min-jun nearby raising his mace ready to swing at him. But at the critical moment, Jong Min-jun's strange symptoms act up again. Severe pain makes him unable to even stand steady, staggering backward. Seeing this, Park Song-bin can't help mocking him, finding his attempt to fight back quite laughable. He raises his mutilated hand, saying sinisterly, "I lost my fingers because of that bastard Kang Hak-chul. I'll make you all wish you were dead." This statement seems to strike a nerve in Jong Min-jun. He starts screaming like a madman. Seeing such abnormal behavior, Park Song-bin secretly speculates, could this guy be infected? He picks up the knife, preparing to finish off Jong Min-jun. But unexpectedly at this moment, Jong Min-jun suddenly turns and walks back. He keeps banging on a door with infected inside. Low roaring sounds immediately come from within, and Jong Min-jun actually makes sounds similar to infected, communicating with them. Park Song-bin thinks he's giving up and wants to release the infected, so he rushes forward again, wanting to finish him quickly. At the critical moment, the door opens. Jong Min-jun's momentum carries him tumbling into the room. The next second, several infected slowly walk out, and Jong Min-jun emerges unharmed behind them. He stares at Park Song-bin with deep eyes, recalling the various humiliations the other brought him. Those insulting words, violent actions, making him understand that the culprit who ruined his life is this guy with no bottom line before him. At this moment, anger reaches its peak. He points at Park Seong-bin, commanding those infected, "Go take down that guy." As soon as he finishes, several infected charge at Park Seong-bin like arrows. Kang Hak-chul nearby doesn't understand why Jong Min-jun can command infected. But survival comes first, so he quickly retreats into the room, leaving only Park Song-bin fighting alone outside. He quickly takes down these infected. Just as he's about to settle accounts with Jong Min-jun, he discovers the other has vanished. Then he hears more low roars of infected from deep in the hallway. Jong Min-jun actually released even more infected from other rooms. Seeing them about to rush up to him, Park Song-bin hurriedly hides in nearby room 210 marked as dangerous. Just as he thinks he's safe, infected in the room suddenly pounce on him. Outside the door, Jong Min-jun silently steps forward, beginning a new round of commands. At the same time, Seo Jae-hoon inside the room says weakly, "Hak-chul, I can't be saved." He tells Kang Hak-chul the knife that stabbed him had infected blood on it. Hearing this, Kang Hak-chul is shocked, but still holding on to hope, prepares to get medical equipment from the ambulance. He quietly opens the door to peek and check, only to see Jong Min-jun standing alone in front of a room. Seeing Kang Hak-chul come out, he says he drove all the infected into the room before him, but unfortunately Park Song-bin dodged the infected's attacks and escaped outside through the room window. Kang Hak-chul asks Jong Min-jun why those infected don't attack him. Jong Min-jun says it's like this whenever symptoms appear, but he doesn't know the specific reason, nor when symptoms will occur again. As soon as he finishes, Han Yena and Moon Ji-yeon rush over. Kang Hak-chul has Han Yena stop Seo Jae-hoon's bleeding while he goes to the ambulance to get medical equipment. Jong Min-jun picks up the rifle, asking, "The last bullet, can it still be used?" Kang Hak-chul quickly chambers around, handing it to him. "It's definitely fine now." He suggests, "Park Song-bin lost so much blood, he definitely can't run far. Let's treat uncle first, then you come with me." Jong Min-jun interrupts him. "No, I'll finish him myself." Then he goes outside, tracking Park Song-bin's bloodstains on the ground. At the same time, he feels his symptoms are subsiding. He immediately quickens his pace forward. On the other side, at a building corner, Park Song-bin hides there, silently vowing, "No matter what method, I must survive." Then he randomly breaks into a residence, wanting to find a first aid kit to stop the bleeding, only to find there's no first aid kit in this house. Just as he's cursing quietly, the sound of a gun being cocked catches his attention. Jong Min-jun is pointing a gun at him. Seeing who came, Park Song-bin relaxes his guard due to instinctive contempt. Can't help mocking, "Can someone like you even use a gun?" Seeing Jong Min-jun still staring at him expressionlessly, he asks again, "Have you ever killed anyone?" "I've been on the run until now and never harmed anyone, but today will be the first exception." Finishing, he aims at the boy before for him. But Park Song-bin not only doesn't take it seriously, he mocks even harder, swearing, Jong Min-jun, you can't do it, because you're a good person, not scum like me. He also tries to morally blackmail Jong Min-jun with a life for a life. But the next second, Jong Min-jun's words make him feel like falling into an ice pit. Even if the world faces apocalypse, scum like you don't deserve to live. With that, he pulls the trigger, sending the last bullet to this boy, who once brought him endless suffering. Everything returns to silence. Jong Min-jun's nightmare ends here. When he returns to the hotel downstairs, he sees Han Yana waiting for him. As soon as she sees him, she hugs him tightly, then tells him the news that Seo Jae-hoon was infected. In the room, Moon Ji-yeon and Seo Ha-jun surround Seo Jae-hoon's bed, crying their hearts out. At this moment, Seo Jae-hoon tells Seo Ha-jun some news. A few months ago, he was diagnosed with cancer and didn't have long to live anyway. He comforts his son not to be too sad, because life is unpredictable. After Seo Ha-jun leaves the room, he tells Kang Ha-chul that what he just said about having cancer was a lie. Only saying this would make Seo Ha-jun accept his departure. As he speaks, his body begins showing mutation reactions. I've lived a very happy life. He sighs, just regret not being able to see my daughter. He asks Kang Ha-chul to help his family reunite, then entrusts his son and daughter to his wife, and stays alone in the room. Kang Ha-chul doesn't kill Seo Jae-hoon because they have an agreement. Seo Jae-hoon hopes to continue living as infected. He asks Kang Ha-chul to wait until the world calms down and a cure is developed, then return to this room to find him. After this, the team of three comes to the rooftop to talk. Han Yana asks what happened in the hallway earlier, and Kang Ha-chul explains the process to her, and states his speculation. Jong Min-jun is more like commanding the infected, but Jong Min-jun explains, he was just overwhelmed by anger at the time and shouted out. He mentions that zombie game in Rage Z, a commander appeared among the zombie hordes, called the Undead King, the only special infected with clear consciousness in that worldview, able to think like humans and command other infected. But I don't think I've become the Undead King because my condition is unstable, so I don't know if I'm fully infected or if it's a side effect of immunity. He suggests testing next time symptoms appear whether he can really give orders to infected. Hearing this, what Han Yena's brain thinks about is something else. If Jong Min-jun remains in an infected state, doesn't that mean he can't kiss others or do other intimate acts? Although the two of them definitely won't develop to that point, does this mean he's become an infected person who can never date the opposite sex? Will he have to spend the rest of his life single? Thinking this, she silently looks at Jong Min-jun beside her, her face showing sympathy, thinking internally, so pitiful, Jong Min-jun will never experience that kind of happiness in his life. After this, everyone packs up and sets out. Seeing Seo Ha-jun still feeling down, Kang Ha-chul tells him about his own childhood experiences, then says, though I can't give you much comfort, the most important thing is, after you see your sister in the future, the only one who can protect your sister and mom is you. So, pull yourself together. You're no longer an ordinary little kid. Seo Ha-jun responds heavily. After his father's incident, he's matured considerably in an instant. At this moment, Kang Ha-chul suddenly stops the car by the roadside, because he sees a rescue vehicle slowly approaching ahead. This vehicle has been modified into a dangerous weapon. There's even a display rack installed on the front, with an infected tied to it. Seeing the rescue vehicle heading in their direction, Kang Ha-chul quickly ducks down with Seo Ha-jun, pretending the ambulance is empty. His intuition tells Kang Ha-chul, the people in that vehicle must be dangerous, and that vehicle stops right next to the ambulance. Kang Ha-chul curses internally, were we discovered? He silently pulls out his dagger, ready to fight at any moment. Suddenly, an infected by the roadside roars and charges at the rescue vehicle, but from the window, someone calmly extends a gun, and shoots that infected in the head with one shot. Hearing this unusually weak gunshot, Kang Ha-chul feels strange. Fortunately, after dealing with the infected, the people in the vehicle drive away, though they escape disaster. Kang Ha-chul's heart remains uneasy. After this, everyone continues along the planned route, but when still a few kilometers from Gunja Station, Kang Ha-chul unexpectedly discovers that modified rescue vehicle is caught up. He immediately turns right onto another street, only to find the road ahead is blocked. At this moment, he notices a parking lot not far away. Though knowing there are likely many infected gathered inside, there's no choice right now. Han Yana and others in the back don't know what's happening, so Kang Ha-chul tells them what he just saw. However, at this moment, he also discovers the entrance to the parking lot is blocked, so he has others wait in the vehicle, while he's responsible for dealing with the dangerous people in the rescue vehicle. Right now, he only has a rifle without bullets but equipped with a simple short sword and an emergency dagger. Not knowing the opponent's weapons configuration, fighting alone is undoubtedly full of risk. He can't help thinking, if the situation really becomes critical, I'll have no choice but to escape alone to survive. He leans out to check, only to find that rescue vehicle didn't follow in, so he hides behind a pillar at the parking lot entrance, looking toward the road. That vehicle actually stopped in the middle of the road. A fully armed man is sent down. Now Kang Ha-chul is very certain that what the man holds is an AR rifle equipped with a silencer. At this moment, he has only one thought, must evacuate as soon as possible. He quickly returns to the ambulance, having everyone transfer immediately. Learning Jong Min-jun's body still hasn't shown symptoms, he curses damn it, then confirms with Han Yana there are at most 5 infected in the parking lot, and leads the group silently bypassing the infected. Entering an open emergency exit door, he instructs Jong Min-jun to take others upstairs to find a safe location, then prepares to face that dangerous person with the silenced AR alone. Jong Min-jun worries he has no bullets and will be hard to handle. Kang Ha-chul promises not to confront the enemy head-on, After speaking, he leaves. Fortunately, that dangerous person encountered trouble. He was discovered by infected. Hearing the continuously weak gunshots, Kang Hak-chul thinks the opponent seems to have plenty of bullets. He again determines that if he really encounters danger, he'll evacuate alone. At the same time, Jong Minjun's group also finds an empty classroom. After settling everyone, Jong Minjun says he's going to assist Kang Hak-chul, but Han Yena grabs his hand, stopping him. "Don't go," she pleads. "Stay by my side." Seeing Jong Minjun look at her in surprise, she explains quietly, "Though I'm also worried about Hak-chul, but the opponent has guns, it's definitely dangerous. And Hak-chul also instructed us to stay put and wait for him to return. I'm saying this because I trust Hak-chul, just wait here with me for him." These words finally convince Jong Minjun, and he no longer insists on finding Kang Hak-chul. Time passes minute by minute, and Kang Hak-chul still hasn't returned. Just as everyone worries, bang bang door pounding sounds suddenly at the entrance. Jong Minjun leans out to check, and sees someone outside trying to open the door. Seeing this, he murmurs puzzled, "Is it Hak-chul?" Han Yena nearby denies this guess. "No, outside the door. There seem to be infected." As soon as she finishes, conversation voices suddenly come from outside. "Why won't the door open? Could there be someone?" Han Yena is startled. "Two people? Could they be special infected?" But Jong Minjun finds those two voices more and more familiar. He ignores Han Yena's attempts to stop him, and directly opens the door. Seeing the two before him clearly, he can't help exclaiming quietly, "What the visitors are actually Bai Junho and Oh Byung-jun." Seeing his good friends, Jong Minjun is naturally very surprised. After the door opens, that strong smell makes Han Yena even more confused. "What's going on? What I'm smelling isn't human scent?" When Oh Byung-jun walks in, she immediately confirms that stench comes from him. She directly points at Oh Byung-jun and shouts, "He's infected. All kinds of pungent smells are coming from him. This is definitely not human smell." But Oh Byung-jun says he's not infected, so Jong Minjun leans close to smell him, then covers his nose, explaining, "This is just his sweat smell." From before, Byung-jun's sweat smell has been pungent. Oh Byung-jun apologizes, embarrassed, "Sorry, I couldn't wash properly." Through conversation, Jong Minjun learns his two friends came here from the Gunja Station shelter. The two explain they're responsible for external patrols. As survivors continuously increase, the shelter has gradually occupied surrounding buildings and continues expanding its control range. Because this place is about 2 kilometers from Gunja Station, they use it as a temporary foothold. At this moment, Moon Ji-yeon suddenly steps forward, taking out Seo Hak-young's photo and asking, "Have you two seen a 20-year-old girl named Seo Hak-young? She's my daughter." The two say they've seen her. She's staying in the women's quarantine zone at Gunja Station Exit 1. Moon Ji-yeon urgently asks if her daughter is well. The other answers affirmatively, but also explains they can't be 100% certain it's the same person based on just a photo, suggesting going to the shelter personally to confirm. After this, Jong Minjun asks if they saw anyone with weapons or strange vehicles with infected tied to the front. Han Yena adds, "When we were moving by vehicle, they suddenly chased us." Hak-chul said they also had guns. Seeing the two puzzled about who Hak-chul is, Jong Minjun briefly explains. Bae Junho suggests, "We didn't see anyone when we came in. Want to go to the rooftop to confirm?" Jong Minjun agrees. Just about to leave, Han Yena grabs his sleeve, tentatively asking, "Jong Minjun, can you stay with me and let these two go confirm, or take me along?" Hearing this, Oh Byung-jun and Bae Junho silently exchange glances. Jong Minjun tells Han Yena not to worry, instructing her to stay put, then goes to the rooftop with his two good friends. Just as Oh Byung-jun said, that strange vehicle is no longer there. Jong Minjun can't help worrying about Kang Hak-chul's safety. Suddenly, Oh Byung-jun grabs his collar, angrily demanding if he's dating Han Yena. Jong Minjun denies in confusion, but Oh Byung-jun clearly doesn't believe it, and threatens him to confess honestly. Bae Junho nearby seriously analyzes, finally concluding, Jong Minjun and Han Yena must be dating. Seeing explanations are useless, Jong Minjun can only give up arguing and turn to another topic, finding Kang Hak-chul. Bae Junho reveals some news. A few days ago, a gunfight occurred outside the shelter. Though the other side had firearms, our side had more people, and that group might be the gang tracking Jong Minjun's group. Jong Minjun worries they'll encounter danger on patrol. Oh Byung-jun explains when encountering danger, they use walkie-talkies to request rescue, then armed rescue troops will drive to support. Seeing Jong Minjun still worried, Bae Junho suggests waiting here for Kang Hak-chul to return first, then going to Gunja Station together. However, the shelter has many people, and conditions for accepting survivors have become very strict. Fortunately, they're friends, so they just need to pass several rounds of checks to enter the shelter. Finishing, Oh Byung-jun nearby pulls out a walkie-talkie. Seeing the other holds the same model walkie-talkie as Kang Hak-chul, Jong Minjun suggests using it to call Kang Hak-chul, but he suddenly remembers that earlier in the emergency, Kang Hak-chul's backpack was left in the ambulance, meaning the walkie-talkie might not be with Kang Hak-chul. Oh Byung-jun says he'll report to headquarters first, then picks up the walkie-talkie to call, reporting he's arrived at the temporary base. After reporting, he also introduces Jong Minjun's group's situation and asks if he can bring them back to the shelter. Headquarters agrees to the request, but on the condition they pass infection testing at Hope Hospital and are quarantined for at least 1 day. Hearing check if infected, Jong Minjun's heart immediately tightens. He quickly confirms with Oh Byung-jun again. The other tells him that professional doctors at Hope Hospital outside the shelter can accurately determine if a person is infected. Then what happens to people found to be infected? Jong Minjun tentatively asks. The other's answer makes him feel like falling into an ice pit. Infected people will soon mutate, so of course they're executed on the spot. Vague anxiety rises in his heart. What if the examination finds I'm really infected? The three don't know their whereabouts have already been discovered by someone lurking on another building's rooftop. At this moment, that person is picking up a walkie-talkie to report to headquarters, and says through the green identification bands on their arms, he can confirm they're members of the Gunja Station gang. The person on the other end of the walkie-talkie asks, "What about the guy who escaped from the ambulance?" The man answers his companion is tracking, no news yet. At this moment, orders come through the other end of the walkie-talkie. If confirmed to be those Gunja Station people, must capture them alive if possible, eliminate directly if they resist. The man agrees on the surface, but curses internally, how can I capture so many people alone? Besides, they're all male, who knows how many more people there are. So he decides to first confirm which floor they're on in the building, then figure out how to catch them all in one net. On this side, the three prepare to return to the classroom. Looking at the two's backs, Jung Minjin struggles internally. Junho and Byungjun are definitely my most trusted friends, but is it really appropriate to tell them about the infection? Setting aside whether they'll believe I'm immune, what if I get tested and find I'm not immune? In short, once identified as infected, I'll likely face a dangerous situation. Should I have everyone except me go to Gunja Station shelter first? But to confirm if I'm infected, I must go through professional doctor testing. Isn't there another way? Thinking this, he decides to temporarily hide his physical condition and wait to find Kang Hakshul before deciding. Back in the classroom, Oh Byungjun tries to contact Kang Hakshul via walkie-talkie, but never succeeds. Jung Minjun decides to wait a bit more. If it doesn't work, he'll personally go find Kang Hakshul. At the same time, that dangerous gang member also found where Jung Minjun's group is hiding. Then he prepares to act. Before long, Jung Minjun hears glass shattering outside the door. He immediately rushes out of the classroom to check, and sees a raging fire in the lounge. Even the office next door caught fire. Jung Minjun murmurs, someone threw Molotov cocktails here. He quickly tells Han Yena and others behind him, our hiding place might have been discovered. We must change locations. Oh Byungjun nearby also quickly picks up the walkie-talkie to call headquarters for help. Just as everyone prepares to escape through the door, Han Yena freezes. She senses the infected's presence. She's about to stop Jung Minjun from opening the door, but he already beats her to it. Seeing the scene before him, Jung Minjun is stunned. The entire building's infected are actually gathered in the hallway. He quickly locks the door, telling everyone the situation. Then speculating, someone definitely deliberately lured the infected here, but at this moment his body shows no symptoms. He recalls last time it was because of anger toward Park Songbin that symptoms suddenly appeared. Thinking this, he loses emotional control on the spot, starts crazily cursing Park Songbin, but obviously this method doesn't work. He can only ask Oh Byungjun how long until rescue arrives. The other answers at least 10 minutes, and with infected gathered now, it'll take even longer. So Jung Minjun decides to lure away the infected alone, while others take the chance to find other safe hiding places. He instructs Bae Junho to keep his backpack safe, then adds, if we get separated and can't meet up, I'll go directly to Gunja Station. We'll meet there then. Han Yena wants to stop him from going into danger alone, but her hand reaching toward him ultimately falls empty. After this, Jung Minjun rushes outside, shouting loudly to attract the infected's attention. They all chase him upstairs. Jung Minjun runs hard while comforting himself. It's okay if I'm immune compared to my friends, it's better if I get bitten. But the enormous number of infected behind still gives him quite a fright. He charges to the rooftop in one breath, originally planning to keep circling to shake them off then return the same way. But unexpectedly, there's no path forward. He's cornered at the rooftop edge, looking at the bottomless distance from the rooftop to the ground. His thoughts return to the first day of the zombie outbreak. Back then he tried to go to the rooftop of Han Yena's residential complex to end his life. If he hadn't met her then, that day might have been his last day alive. Thinking back, she essentially saved his life, because at this moment he's struggling to survive. Thinking this, he makes up his mind. Since he promised Han Yena to survive to the end, before seeing his mother, he absolutely cannot die. Then he leaps forward, his body soaring toward the opposite building like a swallow. Fortunately, he lands safely, but his foot twists. His whole body rolls to the ground. Sharp pain from his ankle reminds him he sprained his ankle. Just as he's about to stand up, a strange man's voice comes from nearby. Didn't expect you to deliver yourself, truly a gift from heaven. Jung Minjun immediately realizes the person before him is the culprit. The man continues asking, you're from Gunja Station, right? Without waiting for Jung Minjun's answer, the man kicks him and demands where the others are. This kick hits Jung Minjun's wound exactly, and he immediately curls up in pain. After reporting to headquarters, the man prepares to capture Jung Minjun alive and kicks toward his face again. On the other side, Han Yena's group arrives at the billiards room. Oh Byungjun just reported to headquarters, and they tell him support has arrived downstairs. He quickly has everyone meet up with the support personnel, but Han Yena wants them to go first while she stays to wait for Jung Minjun and Kang Hakchul. After everyone's earnest persuasion, Han Yena finally agrees to leave with them. On the other side, the dangerous person ties Jung Minjun up in the bathroom. After observing the tight security of Gunja Station guards downstairs, the man realizes their organization is at a disadvantage in firepower. Jung Minjun desperately explains he's not a member of the Gunja Station organization, but the man won't listen at all. He reveals he and his companion agreed to meet here by midnight at the latest, and if the companion doesn't show, he'll assume the companion is dead, then finish off Jung Minjun. But at this moment, he suddenly discovers strange symptoms appearing on Jung Minjun. Realizing the other is infected, prepares to kill him. Suddenly, knocking at the door stops his action. He walks to the door and exchanges secret signals with the person outside. The person outside successfully matches the signal. The man opens the door, about to welcome his companion, but is shot dead by Kang Hakchul. Seeing his companion safely return, Jung Minjun is very happy. Kang Hakchul tells him he was in a nearby building the whole time. He captured the dangerous person chasing him and obtain some intel, but didn't expect to return too late. While untying Jung Minjun, he listens to the other tell everything that happened during his absence. Learning Jung Minjun sprained his ankle, Kang Hakchul supports him as they leave the building together. The two slowly move toward Gunja station area. Along the way, Jung Minjun asks, what exactly are those guys' background? Kang Hakchul tells him. Through interrogation, he not only learned those two dangerous people's meeting place and signal, but also learned the dangerous gang's base isn't fixed, currently temporarily stationed at Zhonggrangxian but moving tomorrow. Then he also threatened with a knife stained with infected blood, forcing out their true identity. Turns out those dangerous people are all criminals from Yongshin prison. In the early outbreak, infected appeared in the prison, and a large-scale riot occurred. Many criminals escaped. Several acquaintances rushed here after hearing Sidia fell, aiming to steal valuable property from banks or department stores. Hearing this, Kang Hakchul pressed about where that silenced gun came from. The man told him this gun wasn't obtained by himself, but when organization members heard helicopters dropped items and went to check, they found a box containing 2 AR rifles and 1 grenade. The man said the other AR rifle is in their captain's hands. Besides this, one person has a rifle found on a soldier's corpse, plus several more grenades. The rest are melee weapons. According to his speculation, that box seemed like supplies prepared for special forces personnel. Getting to this point, Kang Hakchul concludes, in short, someone is deliberately providing weapons. Though we don't know which country dropped them, the purpose is most likely to suppress the current situation. Jung Minjun can't help sighing internally, this is all too absurd. Suddenly, the scene before them shocks both. Corpses are strewn everywhere ahead, blood flowing freely, and in front of the corpses are roadblocks. 2 buses parked horizontally, with a huge banner erected reading, "Approach and be shot."